Chapter 2853, Leng Ruoxue, You and I are irreconcilable. 3. The mist was furious. The hatred in his heart towards Leng Ruoxue was like a torrential river, unending. She, who was at her wit's end with the bugs, couldn't help but roar, Leng Ruoxue, you stinky brat. I won't let you off. Ripple Mist, you bitch. It's not like our Shuer is the one commanding these snakes and bugs, why are you scolding her? This is where you're wrong. Even if you're helpless, you can't implicate the innocent, right? Uncle Long replied with a smile when he heard the angry words of the mist ripple. At the same time, he was also sighing in his heart. Since he didn't have the chance to fight against Fog, he could only attack this bitch with words. And Uncle Long's strategy was indeed successful. Wu Xian was so angry at Uncle Long's words that she wanted to cut him into pieces, but she was tightly entangled by the poisonous snakes and insects and couldn't do anything at all. How detestable! How detestable! These people, these animals all deserve to die. The anger in Ripple's heart surged, and she continued to roar, nothing to do with her. She was innocent. Isn't that little beast her beast? She was the most innocent one, okay? Little bastard, who are you talking about? Suddenly, a chuckling voice interrupted. As soon as Wu Jing heard this, she immediately roared out reflexively, I'm talking about you, you little bastard. After shouting, she realized that something was wrong. Was she scolding him? For a moment, Wu Han was so angry that her IQ was frighteningly low, and she couldn't quite get over it. However, the cheerful laughter continued to enter her ears. Instantly, she was even more furious. Fuck! Why did this voice sound so familiar? Through the gap left behind by the insect, Wu Xian saw Leng Ruoxue leading a group of people and walking towards her. As expected, it was that stinky girl. Wu Xian's aggro had a target now. Among these people, Leng Ruoxue was undoubtedly the most prominent and the most eye-catching. At this moment, Uncle Long and the others also saw Leng Ruoxue. They were pleasantly surprised and excitedly went forward. Everyone started to exchange pleasantries in front of Wu Xian. When she heard the crowd's words of concern for Leng Ruoxue, Ripple Mist was about to explode from anger. Fuck! He was really looking for death. At this time, the other party was actually making small talk. He really didn't take her seriously. The furious Fog Phoenix tried her best to find a chance. In an instant, a thin vine flew towards Leng Ruoxue. Even though Leng Ruoxue was chatting with Uncle Long and the others, she had been secretly observing Fog Ripple from the corner of her eyes. Thus, she had noticed it the moment Fog Ripple moved. When the vine was within reach, Leng Ruoxue reached out with her bare hands and pulled the vine into her grasp. The vine struggled violently in an attempt to escape from Leng Ruoxue's control. However, Leng Ruoxue was tugging on it so tightly that Wu Chen could not get rid of her. Seeing this, Wu Chen became anxious. Thanks, damned girl. Quickly let go of me. Wu Xian roared, his voice resounded through the sky. Let go of you so that you can continue to attack me? Are you the idiot here, or am I the idiot here? Leng Ruoxue asked with a faint smile. Then, he curiously observed the vine. This vine was quite thin, and there was also a small suction cup at the top. It was covered with sharp teeth, and it exuded a chilling aura. This thing of yours is really ugly. Leng Ruoxue observed for a while and said with a look of disdain. Ugly in what way? You're the ugly one. Hearing that her rattan was ugly, Wu Jing was unhappy. In her opinion, she was beautiful from head to toe and there was nothing ugly about her. Therefore, she would never allow anyone to say that she was ugly. How could she be ugly? Look at its mouth. It has so many sharp and thin teeth. It doesn't fit at all. Leng Ruoxue didn't think much of Wu Aisa's words and continued to point at the vines. What do you know? This is beautiful. River Ripple roared. All right. I know that you plants have a different aesthetic sense. Seeing the other party quibbling, Leng Ruoxue could only reply with a helpless expression. Plant? I'm a god lord, not a plant. Leng Ruoxiu's words caused Wu Chen to explode with anger once again. This time, Leng Ruoxiu felt even more helpless. She could not help but ask, "You're disgusted by your plant identity, so you keep changing your blood, right? It's a pity that you can't become a human even if you change all your blood." He couldn't even be considered a beast, so why did he have to be neither human nor ghost? How good would it be if you were just an honest plant? Why do you have to be a human? You shut up. Shut up. Otherwise, I'll kill you. After hearing these words, Wu Yan's madness directly escalated. She had always felt that her identity was a hindrance to her love life, so even if she was a plant, she was not very willing to let others mention it, especially when the person mentioned was her most hated enemy, which was even more unacceptable to her. Leng Ruoxiu also seemed to be very easygoing and could not help but remind him, "All right. I'll shut up, but just because I don't say it doesn't mean that others won't say it." "Yes, that's right. We will all say that you are a plant that no one wants. Actually, it's not embarrassing to be a plant. You're the one who's embarrassing. It has nothing to do with your identity as a plant." As soon as Leng Ruoxiu finished speaking, Uncle Long immediately followed up on the topic. The two of them cooperated flawlessly. These words successfully angered Ripple even more. Then, everyone heard Ripple's hoarse roar, "You all deserve to die. I won't let you off, I'll kill you all." Yes. However, it seems that you will have to wait until you get rid of these poisonous snakes and insects. Leng Ruoxiu reminded her with a smile, afraid that she would forget. After some thought, Leng Ruoxiu added, "But we won't wait for you, so we'll take our leave first." Leng Ruoxiu decided to retreat with her men. Although she really wanted to fight with Rime Ice and see how much stronger she was compared to the Rime Bitch, it was obvious that she was not in her best condition at the moment, and she did not want to fight with a lunatic. So, she would try again when she had the chance. In any case, the divine power in her body was abnormally abundant now, so it was easy for her to teleport anywhere she wanted to. At this moment, Leng Ruoxiu truly felt that she was a nouveau riche. After all, other than Wu Yan, no one should have as much divine power as her. Thinking of this, Leng Ruoxiu was even more determined to return home. She had more important things to do than finding trouble with Rime Ice, so she was not willing to waste her time on this wretched Rime Ice Queen. However, when Wu Jing heard that Leng Ruoxiu wanted to leave, she immediately shouted, "Stinky girl, you're not allowed to leave. You're not allowed to leave. Let's fight for 300 rounds. I'm sorry, I'm very busy, I don't have time to fight with you. But don't worry, when I have time, I'll naturally come and find you." Leng Ruoxiu rejected. She then turned to Uncle Long and the rest, "Uncle Long, let's call it a day. Let's go back first." Chapter 2854, The Missing Three Beast Tribes. 1. Hearing that they were really going back, Master Ning couldn't help but say weakly, "I've just arrived, and my butt hasn't even warmed up yet. We've been here for a long time, but we haven't had the chance to warm up either. So, I agree to go back," Uncle Long said helplessly. Hearing this, Master Ning suddenly sympathized with Uncle Long and the others. He had thought that the other party would have a chance to fight a hot-blooded battle, but who knew that they had not made a move yet? In an instant, the trauma in his heart was completely healed. Then, he ran to Uncle Long and said honestly, "What a pity. You guys are just like me, who was left behind in Demon City." Then who was the hero that defeated the people from the Divine Master's residence? Master Ning was very curious about this hero. He had stolen the limelight from Uncle Long and the others, which indirectly avenged him for being abandoned. Cool. Great. Master Ning laughed 3 times in his heart. Facing Master Ning's gloating, Uncle Long pointed at the treasure in Ice Soul's arms and said, "The hero you're talking about has fainted due to mental exhaustion." Looking in the direction of Uncle Long, Master Ning understood. Leng Ruoxiu also looked over curiously. She also saw the dark golden ball of fur in Ice Soul's arms, but she did not recognize who this little fellow was. "What is it?" Leng Ruoxiu asked. Your baby. Uncle Long replied calmly. Baby? Len Ruoxue was speechless. Could she say that her own baby was not like this? He counted the big furry tail of the little beastie. There were a total of 12 of them, each one fluffy and beautiful, making one unable to let go of them. It's your baby. Seeing that Len Ruoxue was still a little suspicious, Uncle Long asked for confirmation. Did the baby level up? Len Ruoxue continued to be puzzled. Why did she have to have so many more tails after she leveled up? Can't you grow taller? Yes, I am. Uncle Long nodded. Len Ruoxue had no choice but to believe it. Then, she took the unconscious baby from Ice Spirit's hands. However, she heard the baby snoring and was speechless. Didn't they say that the baby had overdrawn his mental power and fainted? Why was he still snoring? However, now was not the time to figure this out. He gave a look to Uncle Long and the rest, and Len Ruoxue and the rest retreated. Of course, before she left, Len Ruoxue did not forget to cut off the vine in her hand. She also greeted the venomous snakes and bugs that were entangling the Ripple Mist slut. Well, retreat first. You can also retreat. Received. Old Venomous Snake, who knew that the lady in front of him had a close relationship with the beast god, replied in a friendly manner. After Len Ruoxue and the rest disappeared, he also sent out a signal to prepare for a retreat. In an instant, the countless venomous snakes and insects that were originally densely packed disappeared together with a speed faster than when they came. At this time, the fog ice, which had been bound and unable to use its full power, could finally move. But now that he could move, was it useful? Len Ruoxue and the rest had left. The venomous snakes and bugs had left as well. Even if she wanted to vent her anger, she could not find anyone else. Thanks at this moment, the pain from her body reminded her that she had been hurt by Len Ruoxue. He bent down and picked up the half-wriggling rattan on the ground. He was so angry that his whole body seemed to be on fire. He shouted towards the sky, Len Ruoxue, you and I are irreconcilable. This voice contained a trace of Wu Xian's divine power, so it spread far and wide. Len Ruoxue and the others who had already teleported away naturally heard the wailing of the Ripple Mist slut. However, no one took it to heart. As they walked, Uncle Long couldn't help but tease, Schwer, the Ripple Mist bitch said that she wants to be irreconcilable with you. Uncle Long, don't worry. You're definitely on her list of irreconcilable enemies. So, I'm not afraid with you as my companions. Len Ruoxue replied with a smile. But I'm scared. Uncle Long said, feigning fear. Everyone burst into laughter at Uncle Long's rare joke. It's okay, I'll protect you. Len Ruoxue had enough of laughing and cooperated. Yes, I knew that Schwer is the kindest. Uncle Long nodded his head in satisfaction. Then, he looked at Len Ruoxue with a puzzled expression and asked, Schwer, you've come out of seclusion, but why didn't you advance? I'm still lacking in other aspects, especially beast taming, Len Ruoxue replied helplessly. Beastie. What should I do with you? The top priority was to get more beasts. All this while, what she lacked the most was also beasts. Of course, what she lacked was beasts that could make her use the beast taming technique. Those that automatically recognized their masters did not count. The higher the level of the beast, wouldn't it also be of help to the level of the beast taming technique? Uncle Long asked after some thought. Yes. Len Ruoxue nodded. That's easy. We haven't even taken care of the dragon, phoenix and white tiger races yet. I think it's better to do it now than today, let's go now. Uncle Long suggested excitedly. He didn't have enough fun at Imperial City, so he really wanted to find someone to cause trouble for. These three clans, Len Ruoxue was a little hesitant. Although she had already planned to take action against these three races, she had originally planned to leave the White Tiger race and the Phoenix race for Fengzhan and Baisu. Therefore, she had never really made a move against these two races. As for the dragon race, she could give it a try. I'll have to clean it up sooner or later, Uncle Long nodded calmly. we're going to deal with the white tiger race as well? Master Ning couldn't help but ask. Since the current white tiger king was captured, the white tiger great elder had been trying to maintain a good relationship with Demon City. If he knew that such a day would come, would the white tiger great elder regret? Of course. Business was business, and tidying up was tidying up. These were two different things that could not be mixed together. Furthermore, the current white tiger race is no longer the same as before. If we take care of them, the previous white tiger king will definitely be grateful to us. Uncle Long said matter-of-factly. Are you sure? Master Ning blinked and asked lightly. Then, he turned to Ice Spirit as if he wanted to hear the opinion of the leader of the four divine beasts. Although the four beast kings were not as harmonious as before, they were still on the same side at this critical moment. Therefore, Ice Spirit's opinion was very important. With Master Ning taking the lead, everyone's eyes collectively shifted. Why are you all looking at me? Ice Spirit asked, not knowing whether to laugh or cry. I'm not even from the white tiger race. They had no choice but to look at you. If you were to protect them, it would really be difficult for them to make a move. Everyone secretly sighed as they looked at the Ice Spirit even more intently. If you want to pack up, go ahead. There's no need to ask for my opinion. I won't interfere in the matters of the white tiger race. Ice Spirit sighed helplessly. With Senior's words, we can be at ease. Uncle Long said with a smile. Ice Spirit was speechless. Even his boss called Schwer his big sister, so what was the big deal in dealing with a traitor subordinate of the beast deity? Besides, he didn't kill them. He just tamed them. That's why the Ice Spirit didn't care about this. Chapter 2855, The Missing Three Beast Tribes, 2. Besides, Ice Spirit had always been a person who prioritized the big picture. He could tell that the little girl needed to tame many beasts for her cultivation. How could he not cooperate? Knowing that Ice Spirit didn't mind, Uncle Long and the rest had no more worries. They even incited Leng Ruoxue impatiently, Schwer, let's quickly go and take down the dragon race, phoenix race, and white tiger race. Why the hurry? She still wanted to go home and have a good chat with Uncle Dragon and the others to understand more about Demon City. However, seeing how Uncle Long and the others looked as if they wanted the world to be in chaos, Leng Ruoxue was too embarrassed to reject them. Just as she was about to nod in agreement, a buzzing sound entered everyone's ears. Everyone immediately stopped and turned around, just in time to see a piece of golden-colored cloud flying in their direction at an extremely fast speed. What? What was going on? Everyone was confused. After a short while, the large golden bee brought a group of smaller golden bees and flew in front of Leng Ruoxue and the others. Then, the large bee looked at Leng Ruoxue with a bashful expression and did not say a word. As a matter of fact, the golden bee was feeling very uneasy. The reason why it chased after them was agreed upon by the bugs. However, many bugs did not like humans, and humans hated bugs as well. However, they wanted to serve the beast god. After a serious discussion, the bugs decided to send the Golden Bee clan, which was more likable and would not be hated by humans, to serve the beast god. In this way, they would have the opportunity to help the beast god if he needed anything. There was no need to trouble the beast god to summon them with mental power. However, when it was in front of Leng Ruoxue, the leader of the Golden Bees suddenly felt a sense of homesickness. It didn't know if the humans would welcome them or if the beast deity would need them. After all, they were of low status. Leng Ruoxue looked at the very human-like expression of the bee in front of her. The veins on her forehead were throbbing. What was the rhythm of this sudden shyness of the bee? If you have something to say, say it. Is there something? After waiting for a long time, Leng Ruoxue could only take the initiative to ask when she saw that the big bee was already playing with its claws uneasily, but it was not saying anything. Where are you guys going? After hesitating for a long time, the golden bee asked softly, her cheeks blushing. Leng Ruoxue was about to say that she wanted to go to the dragon clan, but after some thought, she said, if you have something to say, then say it. Towards friendly beastie, Leng Ruoxue had always been very friendly. This was also the main reason why her beast taming skill had always been at the lowest level. We want to stay by the beast deity's side. Hearing Leng Ruoxue's words, the golden bee took in a deep breath and gathered its courage. Leng Ruoxue was stunned. Shouldn't she be asking baby Su about this? Although she had already found out about her baby's identity from her godfather, she was still a little unaccustomed to it. She didn't know why the big bee had come to find her. Leng Ruoxue could not figure it out, but the leader of the golden bees was clear. If they asked the beast god, they might be rejected. But if they asked this human lady, if she agreed, the beast god would not reject them. They knew that this lady was the sister that the beast god had mentioned. To be called big sister by the beast deity, one could only imagine her status. Therefore, the intelligent bees decided to cling on to Leng Ruoxue, the strong and powerful one. That way, the beast deity would not chase them away. It could be seen that they had a very good plan. Thanks, however, Leng Ruoxue was in a difficult position. She, who had always respected beasts, really did not want to make any decisions for her baby. However, at this time, Uncle Long and the others kept winking at her, wanting her to accept these bees. These little guys were all very difficult secret weapons. More importantly, the honey they produced was quite delicious. Helpless, Leng Ruoxue could only nod in agreement. Seeing that Leng Ruoxue had agreed, the big golden bee immediately started buzzing. The other bees quickly followed suit in high spirits, causing Leng Ruoxue to be speechless. Take us in too. Suddenly, a slightly aged voice appeared in the ears of Leng Ruoxue and the others. Leng Ruoxue and the rest lowered their heads to take a look. They did not know when, but those colorful venomous snakes had also appeared. As for their ability to remain undetectable, everyone admired them, but more than that, they were speechless. These venomous snakes always appeared in a way that caught people off guard. To the enemy, they were definitely the most fatal opponents. Of course, he had to take in such beastie. He had to accept it. Hence, this time, without Leng Ruoxue's approval, Uncle Long made the decision, welcome to the team. Thank you. We still have some brothers and sisters, can you accept them as well? At this time, the old venomous snake, who was the leader, asked with an embarrassed look. Is it also a snake? Uncle Dragon swallowed his saliva and asked carefully. With so many venomous snakes, will the little ones in Demon City be scared? He was suddenly a little worried. No. Old venomous snake quickly denied. If that's the case, then we welcome them to join us. However, we have a deep hatred for the Ripple Witch, so you'd better be prepared. Uncle Long couldn't help but remind him. Don't worry, we have a grudge against her too. Old venomous snake expressed his opinion when he heard Uncle Long's words. If that's the case, all the more we should join forces. Uncle Long said, satisfied. Yes. Old venomous snake also nodded in satisfaction, and then said, let these little ones follow you. I'll go back and inform the other beasts. Alright, but we won't be going home for now. After you've gathered the other beasts, you can bring them to Demon City. Uncle Long said. Hearing Uncle Long say that he wasn't going home, Old Snake couldn't help but ask curiously, you're not going home? Where do you plan to go? Go and take care of the dragon, phoenix, and white tiger race. Uncle Long said honestly. When Old Venomous Snake heard this, he immediately said, then I'll go with you to join in the fun. I've long found the 4 king-level divine beasts to be an eyesore, She's just a little pretty. All of them act like it's a big deal. Old Venomous Snake's words were full of contempt, but it made Uncle Long and the others break out in cold sweat. There were 4 king-level divine beasts among them. And it was the leader of the group. However, to everyone's disbelief, Ice Spirit was rather calm, as if the old viper was talking about someone else. Seeing this, Uncle Long and the others immediately had a deep respect for Ice Spirit. Look at him, this was a true powerful magical beast. He definitely wouldn't assume that it was him just because of a few words from someone else. As a human, as a beast, you should be as cold as ice. In fact, Ice Soul was well aware that he was not one of the 4 king divine beasts that the old snake disliked because he had a good relationship with the old snake. However, the relationship between the old snake and the other 3 kings of the 3 clans that were currently sealed was quite stiff. As long as there was a chance, they would definitely hit each other when they were down and would not wait to step the other into the dust. As a result, the old venomous snake naturally loathed the clansmen of those 3 fellows. Chapter 2856, The Missing 3 Beasts Tribe, 3. At this time, Old Snake also saw through everyone's thoughts. He hooked Ice Spirit's arm with his tail and said, "Don't misunderstand, everyone. I'm very close to Ice Soul. We're good friends. Of the 4 divine beasts, the only one I have a good impression of is the Qilin clan. As it turns out, my eyes are very accurate, The clansmen of the other 3 clans aren't good people either. Otherwise, they wouldn't have betrayed us. In the past, if it wasn't for the betrayal of the 3 races that caught them off guard, their great beast god wouldn't have fallen, and they wouldn't have been forced to hide. But now, the beast god had been reborn, and they could see the light of day again. So at this moment, Old Venomous Snake was quite excited. When Len Ruoxue heard that the old venomous snake in front of her claimed that he was good friends with Ice Spirit, she could not help but sigh. This old venomous snake really knew how to keep up with the times. He seemed to be able to accept new things. Just like that, Old Venomous Snake brought his sons and grandsons to join Len Ruoxue's group. Together, they followed Len Ruoxue and the others in a grandiose manner as they advanced towards the territories of the Dragon, Phoenix, and White Tiger clans. The first place they went to was the Phoenix clan. This was because this place was the closest to the Phoenix clan's territory. However, when they arrived at the Phoenix clan, Len Ruoxue and the others realized that there were only 2 to 3 members of the Phoenix clan in the clan. It was a pitiful number. As such, everyone suddenly lost interest. After that, he turned around and headed to the White Tiger race. At first, Len Ruoxue was still hesitating whether she should come here right now. After all, the relationship between the White Tiger race's Grand Elder and them had been pretty good ever since the White Tiger King incident. However, when she arrived at the White Tiger race, there were only a few White Tigers left to guard the White Tiger race. The rest, including the White Tiger race's Grand Elder, were actually not present. This was really too strange. Len Ruoxue and the rest were confused. They expressed their doubts about the 2 beast men running away from home on such a large scale. Although these 3 races had previously besieged Demon City, they hadn't even attacked the ordinary clansmen yet. This was especially true for the White Tiger race. It could be said that due to the efforts of the White Tiger's Great Elder, their relationship with Demon City had always been considered good, and nothing major had happened since. If the Phoenix race could be explained to be hiding from them, then there was no need for the White Tiger race to hide from them either. Leaving the White Tiger race resentfully, Len Ruoxue and the rest were extremely disappointed. After that, they rushed to the Dragon Clan. When he arrived at the Dragon Clan, the entire Dragon Clan was empty. Looking at the overgrown weeds in the Dragon Clan's territory, everyone was speechless. Previously, when he was at the Phoenix and White Tiger race, he heard from the Phoenixes and White Tigers that were guarding the place that their clansmen had all gone out to train. What about the dragon race? Not a single dragon was left behind. Wasn't he afraid that his territory would be taken over by other beasties? Of course, there definitely wouldn't be many beasts that would dare to openly occupy the territories of the 4 great king divine beasts, but this didn't mean that there weren't any. And even if a dragon was left behind, it would be enough to serve the purpose of deterring the other beasts. It was clear that this disappearance was really unusual. Len Ruoxue would never believe that in order to go out and gain experience, he would hide from her, afraid of her revenge, and even give up his territory. She turned to Ice Spirit and asked, "Senior Ice Spirit, is it possible that they're afraid of my revenge, so they've all gone into hiding and abandoned their territory? How is this possible? This territory was fought hard for by us in the past. Even if our clansmen lose their lives, we can't just hand over the territory to someone else. Ice Spirit said with certainty. A piece of territory was extremely important to Beastie. This was because the territory was not only related to the development of a race, but also played a key role in the growth of the younger members of the race. At the same time, it was also a symbol of the powerful beast race. And the beast race without a territory was naturally not powerful. More importantly, the territories of the 4 king divine beast clans were all very suitable for their own clansmen to live in. As such, it was even more impossible for them to give it to other beasts. But the weeds in the dragon clan's territory are already so tall. Clearly, they've left for a long time. Leng Ruoxiu glanced at the weeds on the ground. Thanks, something must have happened to them. At this moment, Old Venomous Snake, who had just returned from his trip, interrupted Leng Ruoxiu's words. An accident? Leng Ruoxiu and the others were astonished. Hearing this, Uncle Long tried to recall in detail. He had never heard of any human or beast going missing in the divine realm. How did this happen? Are you sure? Ice Spirit asked seriously. You still don't believe in my sense of smell? I've discovered an aura here that doesn't belong to those stinky dragons. It should be that of humans. Old Venomous Snake said with confidence. We've been here before. Hearing Old Venomous Snake's words, Leng Ruoxiu couldn't help but remind him. It's not yours. I know your aura. Old Venomous Snake said with certainty. Shuai believe in its words. Its sense of smell is invincible. Ice Spirit sighed. All right then. Since Ice Spirit had already said so, Leng Ruoxiu could only believe her. However, her curious eyes could not help but turn to look at Old Venomous Snake. Invincible sense of smell. Was he more powerful than a dog? Boss sister, please believe in my judgment. Back then, I was in charge of reconnaissance. Seeing that Leng Ruoxiu was still a little suspicious, Old Venomous Snake couldn't help but be filled with confidence. His face even revealed an expression of reminiscence. I believe you are. Also, you can call me Shuai. Leng Ruoxiu smiled faintly. I'm very happy that boss sister believes me, but I can't call you Shuai. Old Venomous Snake said with a serious expression. In its eyes, it was just a subordinate, and its boss sister was obviously older than its boss. How could it call her by her name? More importantly, he felt that subordinates should act like subordinates. Calling his superior's sister by her name was completely disrespectful to his boss. And the old viper, who had always valued hierarchy, would never allow himself to make such a mistake. Leng Ruoxiu felt a little helpless when she heard its words. She didn't expect this old snake to be so stubborn. In addition, she was also a little worried. If he didn't call her Shuai, then what should he call her? One had to know that the people around her who were slightly closer to her would directly call her by her name. Since this old snake was baby's subordinate, they would definitely be familiar with each other in the future. He couldn't possibly call her Miss Leng, right? Leng Ruoxiu was in a difficult position. Old Venomous Snake didn't know what to call her, but it was definitely not appropriate to keep calling her big sister. Why don't we call her Miss Leng for the time being? Uncle Long could only interrupt when he saw the man and the snake staring at each other without saying anything. Yes. When Old Venomous Snake heard this, he immediately nodded in agreement. Leng Ruoxiu could only nod in agreement when she saw that the other party had agreed. With the form of address confirmed, Old Venomous Snake continued with his own judgment. The reason why I'm so sure that something has happened to them is because I discovered this. With that, Old Venomous Snake produced a black belt out of nowhere. Looking at the black belt, Leng Ruoxiu felt a sense of déjà vu. However, she could not recall where she had seen it before. Chapter 2857, The Missing Three Beasts Tribe. For Shuai, do you find this belt familiar? Seeing Leng Ruoxiu's pensive look, Uncle Long could not help but ask. Yeah, but I just can't remember where I've seen it before. Leng Ruoxiu said, feeling a little depressed. Miss Leng, take a closer look and see if you can find anything. When Old Venomous Snake heard this, he quickly passed the belt to Leng Ruoxue. Taking the belt, Leng Ruoxue observed it carefully. This belt was too ordinary. There was nothing special about it, and there was no trace of the identity of the person on it. After a while, Leng Ruoxue shook her head helplessly. Seeing that she still couldn't remember, everyone could only follow her and think hard. Who do you guys think is the most likely to act against the dragon race, phoenix race, and white tiger race? After thinking for a long time, Uncle Long asked. Right now, these three tribes have no leaders and their beast hearts are scattered, so there are many people who want to take advantage of them. However, not many had the ability to deal with them. The most suspicious ones were the 8 great divine regions. In addition, this might not be done by one family, but by a few. Dongfang Lin analyzed after some thought. As soon as Dongfang Lin's words fell, everyone and all the beasts present couldn't help but turn their eyes to Master Ning. Their suspicious and probing gazes made Master Ning explode. Why are you all looking at me? I didn't lay my hands on the dragon race, phoenix race, or white tiger race. Master Ning shouted angrily. Calm down. We didn't say that you did it. You were with us the whole time, so we know very well whether you did it or not. Smiling, Uncle Long quickly comforted him. Since you know that I've been with you all this time, why are you still looking at me like this? After hearing this, Master Ning was depressed to the extreme. How could they bully people like this? We just want to know if there's anyone from the Ning family doing this behind your back. Uncle Long asked carefully. I won tea. Without my permission, they would never dare to do such a thing. I can guarantee it. Master Ning immediately made a solemn vow. Could that be the Yao clan? Uncle Long was still suspicious. The old man of the Yao family has rarely appeared in public in the past 10 years, so it's hard to say. Master Ning thought carefully and said. It's also possible that a few of them are working together. Dongfang Lin repeated. If that's the case, isn't the murderer a little hard to guess? Uncle Long said helplessly. Don't guess anymore, just send someone to investigate. Leng Ruoxue suggested. Thanks, Shuai, we don't have anyone to send at the moment. Uncle Long told Leng Ruoxue the truth uneasily. Leng Ruoxue was silent. Where was he? AI. Didn't she say that she wanted to go home and have a deep chat? It was obvious that there was something she didn't know. Shuai, we're the only people you can send at the moment. Dongfang Lin added when he saw that Leng Ruoxue seemed to be at a loss. I see. Then why don't I do it myself and you all go home to wait for me? Leng Ruoxue said after some thought. These people's seniority was higher than hers, so she'd better stay at home. I don't want to go back. After hearing Leng Ruoxue's words, everyone spoke in unison. What kind of rhythm is this? Leng Ruoxue was even more helpless. Shuai, now that something has happened to our target beastie, how can we just go back like this? I feel that we should immediately head to the Phoenix and White Tiger tribes and have a good heart-to-heart talk with their only remaining offsprings to see if there are any suspicious people around. Humph. You dare to snatch food from our Shuai's mouth, you really don't want to live. Seeing that Leng Ruoxue had been frightened, Uncle Long put on a gentle smile and explained. His words made everyone nod their heads. Leng Ruoxue, on the other hand, was helpless. It seemed that Uncle Long and the others had taken those beasts as their own. However, Uncle Long's words weren't without reason. They should indeed go and have a heart-to-heart talk with the remaining phoenixes and white tigers. At the same time, they also had to protect the few remaining magical beasts, so that they could find out the true culprit who had abducted the dragon, phoenix, and white tiger race. There's also us. We can all help. Previously, we didn't search the phoenix and white tiger race carefully. Now, we have to return and look for more suspicious clues. The old venomous snake also said. He truly felt that the opportunity for his clan to make a contribution had come. If he could find out the whereabouts of those beast men who had eyes on their heads from their hands, his clan would be able to hold their heads high in front of those 3 beast men in the future. Hee hee. As long as he thought that his clan might become the saviors of those 3 clans, old Venomous Snake's mood instantly brightened. It was even better than beating up those 3 clans. Since that's the case, let's return to the Phoenix and White Tiger race then. Leng Ruoxue saw that everyone had agreed, so she naturally had no reason to reject. However, if they were to return, it would definitely be a disaster for the Phoenix and White Tiger that stayed behind. They arrived at the Phoenix clan first. Seeing Leng Ruoxue and the rest return, the few phoenixes that were left behind felt so depressed that they wanted to bang their heads against the wall. Sob. Why did these fiends return? Did they still want to live? Initially, they were already on tenterhooks about the arrival of Leng Ruoxue and the rest. They had finally managed to send those fiends away safely, and after a few days of peace, those fiends had actually returned. And this time, Leng Ruoxue didn't waste any words. She immediately captured a few phoenixes and brought everyone to the White Tiger race. Actually, the White Tigers of the White Tiger race weren't as afraid of their arrival as the phoenixes. However, they wouldn't welcome them either. After all, no one could forget that their king was still in Leng Ruoxue's hands. The relationship between their White Tiger race and Leng Ruoxue was also so fragile that it couldn't withstand a single blow. They had to be on guard against Leng Ruoxue falling out with them. Hence, Leng Ruoxue could definitely be considered the most unwelcomed guest of the White Tiger race. However, they had no choice but to welcome her with a smile. Such a fact also meant that the White Tigers would never have any confidence when facing Leng Ruoxue and the others. Chapter 2858, The Ning Family. 1. Seeing Leng Ruoxue and the rest turn around, the few White Tigers left to guard the place could only smile stiffly and say in a depressed tone, It's coming. They're here. Leng Ruoxue replied with a smile. However, the more she thought about it, the more she felt that this conversation was very strange. It sounded a little familiar, didn't it? After Leng Ruoxue's reply, the few White Tigers were speechless for a long time. They didn't know how to continue. In fact, the White Tigers really wanted to ask, "Why did you come back?" But no one dared to say this. Especially after seeing that the other party had captured a few phoenixes, no one dared to ask. Just like that, the White Tiger, Leng Ruoxue, and the others stared at each other. After a long while, one of the White Tigers suddenly remembered that Leng Ruoxue and the rest were still standing there. He quickly said, Then please take a seat." Leng Ruoxue and the others were silent. Uncle Long took a deep breath and asked, "You want us to sit on the ground?" "Arg. It wasn't tea. It wasn't tea. Please come to the living room." The White Tiger's heart was in his throat when he heard this. He was afraid that the other party would pick a fight with him because of his inappropriate language. When they respectfully invited Leng Ruoxue and the others into the living room and saw that the other party did not take the opportunity to cause a scene, the White Tigers finally felt at ease. After that, they went to prepare food for Leng Ruoxue and the rest in a panic. Seeing how they were so busy but were clueless and dazed, Leng Ruoxue quickly stopped them and said, "Don't be busy, sit down, I have something to ask you." Leng Ruoxue's voice was a little loud. When the White Tigers heard her, they were so frightened that their hearts trembled. Then, they sat down stiffly beside them. Seeing that the White Tigers were sitting far away, Leng Ruoxue raised her eyebrows and asked indifferently, "What, do you think I'm going to eat you? All of you, sit here." When they saw Leng Ruoxue pointing to the empty seats beside them for them to sit, the White Tigers stood up unwillingly with a sad face. Then, they walked with heavy steps, slowly towards Leng Ruoxue. "You bastard! You guys should move quickly, we don't have that much time to waste on you." The cowardice of these White Tigers instantly infuriated Uncle Long. This roar of his was really effective. The few White Tigers immediately quivered and ran to Leng Ruoxue's side. They sat down in the seats that were specially reserved for them. "Tell me about your clansmen who ran away from home." What time did they leave? Did they say goodbye to their clansmen before leaving? In addition, have any strangers come here? Seeing that the white tiger had sat down, Len Ruoxue asked a few questions in a row. The white tigers could not help but look at each other. There were so many questions, which one should they answer first? Seeing through their thoughts, Uncle Long roared, "Answer me one by one. Answer seriously, or you'll have to bear the consequences." Upon hearing this, the white tigers immediately sat up straight like obedient babies. Then, the white tiger, who was the most powerful among them, spoke first. "I don't know when they left, because they usually leave at night, so no clansmen saw them. As for the greeting, I don't think they did." After this white tiger finished speaking, the other white tiger continued, "No strangers have come to the clan in the past few years." After answering seriously, the few white tigers looked at Len Ruoxue and the others uneasily like primary school students. They wondered if the other party would be satisfied with their answer. Sob. It felt so difficult to answer. "Are you sure no strangers have been here?" Len Ruoxue's suspicions deepened when she heard the white tigers say that their clansmen had chosen to leave at night, but no one had seen them. Was there a need to be so mysterious when facing his own family? "No, I didn't. Our white tiger race doesn't welcome strangers," a white tiger replied. In reality, he wanted to say that he did not welcome humans. However, when he thought of the identities of Len Ruoxue and the others, he forcefully changed the word human to stranger. "Thanks. So, you didn't know when the clansmen left? Since you're not sure, how can you be sure that they've gone out to gain experience?" Len Ruoxue asked again to confirm. "Ah. They left a letter to the clan before they left, so we knew about it," a certain white tiger said carefully. Len Ruoxue and the rest could not help but laugh when they heard that the white tiger had left a letter before it left. Uncle Long couldn't help but laugh out loud before saying, "I only found out today that your white tiger race likes to write letters." What a joke. The beasts hated things related to words the most because most of them could not read. They were once laughed at by humans for their lack of literacy, so from then on, the beasts hated words. Of course, this was not absolute. There were still some beasts who could read, but most of them hated words. When Len Ruoxue and the rest heard that every beastie that had left home had left a letter to inform them of their whereabouts, their first reaction was that it was impossible. When the white tigers heard this, they blushed and said, "These few years, under the great elder's education, every white tiger has started to learn to read, so it's not a problem for them to trust us with simple words. If that's the case, then he'll have to trouble you to show us the letters left behind by the white tigers," Len Ruoxue suggested after hearing this. "All right, please wait a moment." A white tiger stood up and walked out. Not long after, he returned with a thick stack of paper in his hand. After passing the paper to Len Ruoxue, the white tiger returned to its original position. After Len Ruoxue flipped through it briefly, she passed the thick stack of papers to Uncle Long and the others. After everyone had finished looking around, Len Ruoxue asked, "What are your thoughts?" "The white tiger race's handwriting is not bad. The words are neat and imposing. It just doesn't look like it was written by someone who only learned how to write for a few years." Master Ning was the first to express his opinion after a glance. "Why do I feel that these words are somewhat similar? It's as if they were all written by the same person." Uncle Long scratched his head in confusion. Hearing him say this, Master Ning and the others lowered their heads and looked carefully again. With one look, they really saw many problems. These words were indeed written by a single person. Although the other party had deliberately changed the style, it is impossible to change the habits of many years. Dongfang Lin said with certainty after a careful observation. "Did you hear that? This word was written by a person, not your family's handwriting." Len Ruoxue turned to the few white tigers beside her and said after hearing Dongfang Lin's words. This is impossible," he exclaimed. The white tigers were dumbfounded when they heard this. "Something might have happened to your family." Seeing this, Len Ruoxue could only make her words more clear. But in this case, the white tigers found it even more impossible to believe her. Not only did they not believe her, they even looked at Leng Ruoxue with suspicion. However, no one had the guts to question Leng Ruoxue. Leng Ruoxue understood when she saw their expressions. After that, she pointed to the few phoenixes sitting on the ground and said, "You can ask them. The situation of their phoenix race is the same as your white tiger race." Chapter 2859, The Ning Family. 2. Does your phoenix kind also have a clansman who is going out to train? One of the white tigers asked. Yes, he also left a letter before he left. One of the phoenixes said honestly. After listening for such a long time, he finally realized that something was amiss. After all this fuss, Leng Ruoxue had returned because she suspected that her clansman's training was abnormal. If that was the case, why didn't he say it clearly at the beginning? Why did he have to capture all of them and take them away? Sob. The phoenixes were so sad. It looks like our two races are thinking the same thing. The white tiger said dumbly. Want to be together, your sister. The phoenix who replied was not as stupid as the white tiger. Immediately, he turned to look at Leng Ruoxue and said, "Something must have happened to the phoenix kind, at least you're not too stupid." Leng Ruoxue looked at the phoenix with admiration. She then turned to look at the silly white tiger with a headache and said, "Did you hear that? She's more clear-headed than you idiot." Leng Ruoxue's tone was filled with resentment. If there was such a stupid subordinate among her subordinates, she would definitely be angered to death. Fortunately, this white tiger wasn't hers yet. But in the future. Thinking about the future, Leng Ruoxue's gaze towards a certain white tiger became sharp again. As for the white tiger that was being glared at, it looked at Leng Ruoxue with an aggrieved expression, as if it was a little wife that had been bullied. Leng Ruoxue could only sigh. After taking a few deep breaths, she suppressed her anger and said, "Now that your clansmen are all in trouble, leaving only a few of you behind, what do you think? Tell me." "We don't know." Woo! The few white tigers were on the verge of a mental breakdown after hearing this bad news. They were at a loss for what to do and looked at Leng Ruoxue with teary eyes. Their clear blue eyes were red as though they were saying, "Please protect me." "Miss Leng, you can make the decision," the Phoenix clan replied. "Well, listen to you." AI. He definitely had to listen. A beast under the eaves had no choice but to lower its head. "I can't be bothered with your business." The moment the phoenix finished speaking, Leng Ruoxue's face was filled with disdain. Ugh! Not care. No matter why they were captured. He thought that since the other party had captured them, he would naturally help them. But now. Sob. How could these people not care? How could he leave her in the lurch? It had to be said that at this moment, whether it was the phoenix or the white tiger, both of them felt fear towards the disappearance of their clansmen. In fact, at this moment, they could not help but place their hopes on their original enemy, Leng Ruoxue. However, now that she had said that she would not care, their burning anticipation was instantly crushed into an ice cave. "Don't ignore it, dear. If you don't do anything, they might be captured by the bad guys." Woo-woo, whoever dared to capture Phoenix and White Tiger must have extraordinary strength. Thinking of this, they couldn't help turning their eyes to Master Ning. They guessed that the person who dared to capture the Phoenix and the White Tiger was probably from the 8 great divine regions. It had to be said that the two sides were thinking the same thing. The reason why they did not suspect Leng Ruoxue was because they felt that with Leng Ruoxue's abilities, she would not have to go through so much trouble to capture a White Tiger or Phoenix. Thanks, he secretly caught someone and left a message. How much effort did he have to put into this? Leng Ruoxue would definitely not bother to do such a sneaky thing. More importantly, even if the other party had done it, they would not have forged a message. It was really unnecessary. Without any suspicion, the White Tiger and Phoenix who were present ruled out Leng Ruoxue as a suspect. This was something that Leng Ruoxue had never thought of. She even felt that it would be normal for the other party to suspect her. After all, they did not get along well. Master Ning, who had been targeted by them, was a little angry. "Why are you all looking at me? I didn't do that." Master Ning roared in anger. We didn't say that you did it. We just feel that, in the entire firmament, only the people from the 8 great divine domains, aside from Demon City, are capable of snatching away the phoenix and the white tiger without anyone knowing. A certain phoenix explained in fear. Master Ning was speechless. It seemed like that was the case. Uncle Long and the others couldn't help but laugh. It seemed that they had the same idea. After clearing her throat, Len Ruoshua spoke again. "I can guarantee that this matter has nothing to do with Godfather. As for who you suspect, just go and find the person involved. I hope that I'll have the opportunity to see all of you alive in the divine realm in the future." With that, Len Ruoshua stood up and prepared to leave. As soon as she stood up, Uncle Long and the others naturally followed suit. The phoenixes and white tigers were dumbfounded. Woo! He really didn't care. No. They definitely could not allow Len Ruoshua and the others to leave just like that. If they left, there would be even fewer people who could help them. Actions speak louder than words. In the next second, a few white tigers and phoenixes pounced towards Len Ruoshua in unison. They knelt on the ground and hugged Len Ruoshua and the rest's legs tightly as they cried, "Woo! You can't just leave like this. If you guys leave, what are we going to do? What do you have to do with us? Don't forget, we are also enemies." Len Ruoxu's face darkened before she spoke in a tone that left no room for discussion. "Yup. We don't have the obligation to help you, and you're not even related to us." Uncle Long agreed. He couldn't help but laugh in his heart. Shuai's tactic of playing hard to get was good. In this case, wouldn't these phoenixes and white tigers be easy to capture? Then we'll become your beasts. Is that okay? One of the phoenixes asked carefully. Don't say that he didn't have a backbone. When things came to a head, he might even lose his life. Could a backbone be eaten? Staying alive was the most important thing. Hearing that a certain phoenix had the intention to defect, Len Ruoshua smiled faintly and said, "I'm sorry, but the thing I don't need the most right now is a beast. However, I do lack some servants. Are you willing to do that?" "I'm willing. I'm willing." The phoenix who spoke did not dare to make a decision on behalf of the others. However, to him, it did not matter whether he was a beastie or a servant, as long as he could keep his little life. He did not wish to be like his clan members and disappear without a trace. More importantly, everyone in the immortal realm knew that Len Ruoshua treated beasts well. Hence, being her servant was better than letting others take advantage of her, right? It had to be said that this phoenix had thought it through quite thoroughly and was very tactful. It was also very sincere and did not reveal the slightest bit of reluctance. Seeing his expression, Len Ruoshua smiled faintly. "Since you've decided, I'll give you a chance. Thank you, Master, for taking me in." A certain phoenix said in a fawning manner when she saw that her wish had been fulfilled. "Master, I'm willing too. Master, please take me in." When the other phoenixes and white tigers saw this, they didn't care about their face anymore and fought to be the first to speak. Chapter 2860, The Ning Family. 3. Seeing this grand scene, Master Ning and the others couldn't help but twitch their lips. This was too. That? Don't you have any shame? However, Len Ruoshua was satisfied that they had walked right into her trap. This was the result of playing hard to get. Hence, she did not reject them. After explaining to the other party that she wanted to use the beast taming technique, Len Ruoshua then signed the equality contract with them. The white tigers and phoenixes were extremely touched. He had thought that his master would sign a master-servant contract with him, but he didn't expect it to be an equal contract. Sob. Where else could he find such a kind master? At this moment, the beasties' hearts were completely subdued by Len Ruoshua. Initially, Len Ruoshua was hesitating whether she should sign a master-servant contract before the contract was formed. After all, to ordinary beast tamers, it was necessary to sign a master-servant contract for tamed beasts. Only then would the loyalty of the beasts be high. However, she did not have such concerns at all. More importantly, she had always been tolerant of her beasts. There were very few beasts in her family who had signed a master-servant contract, and the few beasts in front of her had never offended her. Therefore, she really could not bear to use the master-servant contract to control their freedom. After much consideration, Leng Ruoxue finally decided to sign an equality contract. However, she did not expect that a contract of equals would be able to completely subdue the hearts of these beasts. This could be considered an unexpected surprise. After becoming Leng Ruoxue, the white tigers and the phoenix felt much more at ease. Then, out of curiosity, one of the white tigers could not help but ask, "Master, have you been to the dragon clan? What's the situation there?" "I've been there. Their entire clan doesn't have any dragons," Leng Ruoxue said calmly. "Ah!" These words instantly scared the phoenixes and white tigers so much that their faces turned pale. At the same time, they were secretly rejoicing in their hearts. It was a good thing that they had acknowledged Leng Ruoxue as their master. Otherwise, they might be the next ones to be captured. "Master, what should we do now?" a phoenix asked after a long time. "Investigate the suspicious people and find us a secret place. We will be staying there temporarily. As for you, you will be live targets for now. If the other party wants to make a move, you'll be the first choice." Leng Ruoxue made the arrangements. Although they knew that their master's arrangement was very reasonable, as long as they thought that they would be living targets for the enemy, the white tigers and phoenixes could not be happy. However, this was something that couldn't be helped. The other party was going to make a move against the phoenix and white tiger race. It was clearly unrealistic to make them the target. In order to ensure their safety, Leng Ruoxue had even specially instructed Old Venomous Snake to place a few of his sons and grandsons by their side for protection. This way, their safety would naturally be greatly increased. After that, Leng Ruoxue and the rest settled down in a mountain stream within the white tiger race. During this period of time, Leng Ruoxue had heard from Uncle Long and the others that there was new blood in Demon City. However, these new blood were either in closed-door cultivation or out for training. Hence, in the huge demon city, they were the only idle people. But fortunately, with the Golden Bee clan, Old Venomous Snake, and his children and descendants around, they finally had some people to run errands for them. Other than the venomous snakes that followed the white tiger and phoenix, the rest of the snake's offsprings were sent out by the Old Venomous Snake. The Golden Bee clan also scattered to cooperate with the venomous snakes to investigate the situation and monitor suspicious people in the 8 great divine regions. Time passed. Soon, 2 months had passed. There was no trace of the enemy, but Bao Bao, who had been sleeping for a long time, finally woke up. The moment Baby Su opened his eyes, he saw Leng Ruoxue and immediately threw himself into her arms. He said passionately, "Sister, I missed you so much." "Sister also misses the baby," Leng Ruoxue said dotingly. "Sister, baby doesn't want to be away from you for so long," the baby said in a spoiled manner. "Silly girl, baby has never left big sister. Baby's temporary departure is all for cultivation," Leng Ruoxue reminded. "Yes, I don't need to cultivate anymore. Sister, how's my new image? Is she pretty?" In order to let Leng Ruoxue see his current appearance, Baby jumped out of Leng Ruoxue's arms reluctantly and posed a few times for his beloved sister to see. Initially, it had wanted to show off, but who knew that it would accidentally trip over its long, furry tail. With a loud plop, it fell on its back. This made Leng Ruoxue laugh out loud. Seeing that she had pleased her sister, Baby Su was happy in her heart. However, she couldn't help but put on an aggrieved expression. Her eyes were filled with tears as she looked pitifully at Leng Ruoxue, who was smiling so widely that she had lost her image. "Sister," the baby sobbed. When Leng Ruoxue saw this, she immediately pulled the baby into her arms to comfort him. However, she could not hide the smile on her face. Big sister, you're smiling so happily. Bao Bao could only laugh at herself. Bao Bao has done a great job. Yes. Leng Ruoxue smiled and nodded. Thanks. Just as Leng Ruoxue was about to praise baby Su, a small golden bee flew over and stopped beside the two of them. When the golden bee saw that its baby was awake, it hurriedly saluted, "Greetings, greetings, Lord Beast Deity." "Yes, what's the matter?" The baby's previous tsundere attitude was replaced by a stern expression. "Your Excellency, Miss Leng, the king asked me to inform you that there are enemies." The little golden bee replied in a trembling voice. "What enemy information?" The baby, who had just woken up, had a confused expression on his fluffy and cute little face. "Have you found the person who captured the three beasts?" Leng Ruoxue asked. "Not yet, I caught a man in black. That person was sneakily loitering around the white tiger race's territory and we discovered him," the golden bee reported. "Ah." Leng Ruoxue was speechless. This couldn't be considered as an enemy's relationship, right? What if they were just passing by? However, she would rather catch the wrong person than let him go. So, after hearing the golden bee's report, she carried the baby to the living room because the person was being interrogated by Uncle Long and the others. On the way, Leng Ruoxue also explained to baby Su. After finding out that the dragon race, phoenix race, and white tiger race had all gone missing, Bao Bao was completely enraged. "You bastard! It had not dealt with those guys yet. How could they let others capture them? Wasn't this clearly snatching people from the hands of the beast god? Such an evil act must not be tolerated." The baby, who was being carried by Leng Ruoxue, followed her into the living room in a valiant and spirited manner. Seeing that the baby had woken up, everyone was very happy, because this meant that their strength had increased a lot. However, the few people sitting here still used up most of their mental strength on the baby, just to add a few words of criticism to the fog ripple, while the baby felt warm and accepted everyone's criticism with an open mind. After that, everyone turned their attention to the man in black who was kneeling on the ground. Seeing that the other party was dressed in black in broad daylight, Leng Ruoxue was speechless. This person didn't look like someone who was good at this, but that didn't mean that he wasn't suspicious at all. Moreover, no matter how she looked at him, she felt that the person in front of her looked familiar, but she could not remember where she had seen him before. More importantly, when the person in front of her saw her, his eyes were obviously avoiding her, as if he did not expect to see her here. "You recognize me?" Leng Ruoxue squinted her eyes as she sat down. "Young Lady Leng is very famous in the divine realm. I'm afraid there aren't many people who don't recognize her, right?" The man in black replied carefully after he calmed down. "You think I'm asking you that?" Leng Ruoxue glanced at the black-robed man. "Forgive me for being slow-witted, but I don't understand what Miss Leng is saying." The man in black pretended to be stupid. "You don't understand? You're a member of the Ning family?" Leng Ruoxue suddenly asked. Even though there was a hint of doubt in her words, her expression was very certain. "No, I'm not." The black-robed man denied frantically. When Uncle Long and the others heard Shuai say that the other party was from the Ning family, they were all shocked, especially Master Ning, whose eyes were about to pop out. Then, Master Ning rushed to the man in black, grabbed him by the collar, and asked, "You're from the Ning family? What's your name? Which room is she from?" "I'm not a member of the Ning family." The man in black was so frightened by Master Ning's sudden action that his face turned as pale as a sheet. However, he still denied Leng Ruoxue's words. Seeing that the other party refused to admit it, Master Ning turned to Leng Ruoxue and said, "Shuai, I don't think he's from the Ning family. The Ning family wouldn't act like this when they see me. Godfather, Qing Ju has read his heart." With a faint smile, Leng Ruo told him the truth. This time, Master Ning didn't say anything, and turned his head to glare at the man in black in front of him. However, the black-robed man clearly did not understand the meaning behind Leng Ruoxue's words. He stubbornly stuck his neck out and continued to argue, "I'm not a member of the Ning family. Miss Leng, please don't give me an identity." "What, do you think that your identity as a member of the Ning family has embarrassed you? Or do you think you're not qualified to be called a member of the Ning family?" Hearing this, Leng Ruoxue continued to ask with a smile. "None of them. I'm not a member of the Ning family anyway." The man in black roared at the top of his lungs as Leng Ruoxue pressed on. At this moment, he had already thrown all his fear to the back of his mind. The only thing he wanted to do was to deny it. He didn't believe that as long as he refused to admit it, the other party would still be able to pin the Ning family's identity on him. Leng Ruoxue was not bothered by his stubbornness. She smiled and said, "What, you think you've embarrassed the Ning family? If you knew this would happen, why did you do that?" 1. Chapter 2861, Are You Threatening Me? 1. Miss Leng, don't talk nonsense. I'm not a member of the Ning family. How could I embarrass the Ning family? Leng Ruoxue had already put it that way, but the man in black still refused to admit it. Seeing this, Leng Ruoxue smiled faintly and walked to the side of the man in black. "It seems that you really don't like your identity as a member of the Ning family, otherwise you wouldn't have refused to admit it. Forget it, since you don't want to acknowledge it, I can't force you to acknowledge it, so as not to really lose Godfather's face." "You," Leng Ruoxue's words angered the man in black so much that his entire body trembled. He was unable to form a complete sentence even after a long time. At this moment, Leng Ruoxue couldn't be bothered with him anymore. She turned her gaze to her godfather and said, "Godfather, they are the third elder's men." Master Ning immediately understood. Then, he looked deeply at Leng Ruoxue and sighed in his heart. He knew that the Ning family's matters could not be hidden from this girl. But this was good too, at least Shuai understood him. Then, Master Ning's sharp eyes turned to the man in black and he asked indifferently, "Did third brother ask someone to do this? What is it? I don't understand." Seeing that he couldn't hide it anymore, the black-clothed man didn't quibble that he wasn't a member of the Ning family, but he still didn't know. "Godfather, there's no need to ask him. He's just a small fry and doesn't know much." Seeing that the black-robed man was still trying to hide the truth, Leng Ruoxue did not want to give him any more chances. "All right, I'll go find third brother." Hearing this, Master Ning stood up and walked out angrily. Uncle Long and the others looked at each other, then they got up and followed him. Seeing that everyone had left, the black-shirt man thought that he was free. Just as he was about to cheer, he suddenly realized that there were a few more golden little bees around him. What are you guys doing?" The man in black shivered. The gazes of these little golden bees were much fiercer than before. What were they trying to do? What do you want? Hee hee. Kid, without the order of our boss sister, you can forget about escaping. You're under our watch now, so don't ever doubt our intelligence. Brothers, go. Take him down. A golden bee grinned evilly and said to its brother. When the other golden bees heard this, they immediately buzzed with joy. Then, they quickly enlarged their bodies and charged toward the man in black. After a few bees hit each other, the man in black fainted. Then, the bees grabbed the man's legs and dragged him out. At the same time, the aggressive Master Ning also rushed to the area of influence assigned to the third elder. Leng Ruoxue and the rest followed him all the way, but they could not keep up with their godfather's footsteps. They were completely shaken off by the exasperated Master Ning. Of course, Master Ning didn't mean to shake them off, but no one expected him to walk so fast. When they didn't pay attention, he had already disappeared. And they didn't know where the third elder's territory was, so they could only go to the Ning family to find the second elder first. The second elder of the Ning family knew why they were here. He immediately brought Leng Ruoxue and the rest to the territory of the third elder. The second elder was about to leave when he arrived at the third elder's territory, but when the guards saw him, he said, "Second elder, long time no see. Third elder is waiting for you." When the second elder heard this, his face was full of doubt. Third brother was waiting for him. Was this a joke? Thanks, ever since third brother had been chased out of the family by the old ancestor, he had not been in contact with them at all. How could he wait for him? However, the second elder of the Imperial Guard recognized the person who had spoken. Hence, he did not doubt the other party's words and stayed behind with Leng Ruoxue. After that, they were respectfully invited into the city. The guard brought Leng Ruoxue and the rest to a tall, grand courtyard that was exactly the same as the Ning family's main residence. He then turned and left. Looking at the tall and magnificent courtyard, Leng Ruoxue turned to second elder and teased, "Second elder, it also says the Ning family's main residence. Which one is the real one?" "Of course, it's real." The second elder of the Ning family frowned. "Are you sure? Do you know what kind of feeling this place gives me?" Leng Ruoxue asked indifferently. "Of course I'm sure. We're the master of the Ning family, so please don't think too much, Miss Leng," the second elder of the Ning family said. But in fact, he was also a little uneasy. He didn't know what his third brother was up to. He had already been expelled from the Ning family, so how could he still use the name of the Ning family's main residence? Wasn't he trying to make them look bad? More importantly, how was this the Ning family's main residence? The second elder was a little unhappy, but he didn't show it. After that, they were all invited into the living room by the servants. Sitting in the living room, Leng Ruoxue's beautiful face maintained a faint smile, while second elder's uneasiness grew heavier and heavier. Because along the way, he had discovered that every blade of grass, every tree, and all the decorations were basically no different from the real Ning family's main residence. What was she trying to do? Suppressing his anger, the third elder finally arrived. Before the second elder could flare up, the third elder laughed and said, "Second brother, long time no see. Don't call me second brother, I'm not worthy of that title." Hearing this, the second elder said in a bad mood. "All right then. Second elder, how have you been?" The third elder tactfully changed his words. Then, without waiting for the second elder's reply, he turned his gaze to Leng Ruoxue. Looking at Leng Ruoxue, his heart was filled with hatred. If it wasn't for this woman, he wouldn't have ended up like this. "Third elder, how have you been?" Leng Ruoxue saw that the other party was glaring at her with hatred but did not say a word, so she could only take the initiative to speak. "Thanks to Miss Leng, my life is still going on," the third elder said indifferently, and then asked, "May I know why Miss Leng has come here? Where's Godfather?" Leng Ruoxue didn't answer directly and continued to ask. "If the Godfather that Miss Leng is talking about is Master Ning, I don't see him," the third elder said in a light tone. "You didn't see it?" Leng Ruoxue squinted her beautiful eyes as she muttered to herself. "This is impossible. The old ancestor clearly came to your place." At this time, the second elder also had a look of disbelief. "Second elder, did you see Master Ning come to my place with your own eyes?" Hearing this, third elder also asked. "Ugh." The second elder was at a loss for words. Of course, he did not see it with his own eyes. He had heard it from Leng Ruoxue. Furthermore, there was no need for Leng Ruoxue to lie to him about such matters. Second elder turned to look at Leng Ruoxue with suspicion. Then, he heard Leng Ruoxue say, "Third elder, if you're sensible, hand over your godfather. He's your biological father after all. How could you harm him?" "What?" Leng Ruoxue's shocking words scared the second elder so much that he jumped up in shock. He looked at Leng Ruoxue in disbelief before turning to look at the third elder. With a face full of disappointment, he shouted, "Third brother, you harmed our ancestor? You animal! I'm going to kill you to avenge our ancestor." Chapter 2862, Are You Threatening Me? 2. After the second elder finished shouting, he immediately pounced towards the third elder. When the third elder saw this, he did not panic and said, "Second elder, can't you grow some brains? Don't be incited by this woman. What reason do I have to harm Master Ning? To think that we've been brothers for so many years, yet you easily believed an outsider's words, and even began to doubt me." When the third elder said this, his face was full of disappointment. When the second elder heard him say this, he was at a loss and didn't know who to believe. Not long after, the second elder took a few deep breaths and said, "Miss Lin would not lie to me because of such a matter. Do you think I would lie to you about something like this?" The third elder asked angrily. "Well, talk about lying later. Hand over your godfather first." Len Ruoxue didn't want to see third elder continue to play the family card, so she went straight to the point. When the second elder heard Len Ruoxue's words, he immediately reacted, "That's right. Quickly hand over the ancestor. Otherwise, I won't let you off. I told you Master Ning didn't come. Why didn't you believe me?" The third elder said helplessly. "It doesn't seem like you have the final say. Since you claim that Godfather isn't here, do you dare to let us search?" Len Ruoxue asked with a smile. "Sure, but what if you don't find anything?" The third elder asked. "If you didn't find it, doesn't that prove your innocence? What else do you want to do?" Len Ruoxue asked with a faint smile. The third elder was angered by his words. After taking a few deep breaths, he suddenly roared, "If you can't find it, then you can all stay here. Are you staying for dinner? There's no need to be so polite." Len Ruoxue played dumb. "You must be dreaming. I'll leave you behind to be dealt with properly." The third elder roared. "So you want to punish us? Oh. All right, let's see if you have the ability then." When Len Ruoxue heard this, she was neither angry nor annoyed. Instead, she agreed. "I'm looking forward to it," Uncle Long interrupted. "Humph." Seeing the two of them echoing each other, the third elder was furious. He thought to himself, "You'll see what happens later." After that, he suppressed his anger and gestured for Len Ruoxue and the others to do as they pleased. Before the official search, Len Ruoxue had secretly given them a few pills. Even though everyone was puzzled, they still took them when they were not prepared. After that, everyone dispersed and split up. Len Ruoxue carried the baby and headed south. Third elder could not help but sneer as he watched Len Ruoxue leave. Then, he sat back in his original position and leisurely drank his tea. "Big sister, there are so many strangers, auras here." Along the way, Bao Bao whispered to Len Ruoxue through telepathy. "Yes, let's find Godfather first. Don't worry about the rest." Len Ruoxue replied and quickened her pace. They arrived at a small courtyard that had been abandoned for a long time. Len Ruoxue pushed open the door and walked in. Thanks. After entering, Len Ruoxue lifted her beautiful eyes and searched carefully. From the outside, this small courtyard seemed to have been abandoned for a long time. However, the courtyard was unusually clean. There wasn't even a single weed. The courtyard was filled with bright red flowers, competing for beauty. Although the flowers were beautiful, they gave her a rather out-of-place feeling. Len Ruoxue walked over to the flowers and observed them carefully. She stretched out her snow-white hand, wanting to pick one and look at it as much as she wanted to. However, the moment her hand reached out, the flowers moved. She saw many tentacles extending out of the center of the flower, rushing toward her. Seeing this, Len Ruoxue hurriedly retracted her hand. When the flowers saw that the delectable taste was gone, they seemed to be quite dissatisfied and started to shake violently. They even let out baby-like cries. What the hell was this flower? Seeing this, Len Ruoxue really wanted to burn all these strange flowers. However, before she could do that, she heard light footsteps behind her. Len Ruoxue turned around vigilantly and saw Third Elder leading a group of menacing men in black and had her surrounded. "Third Elder, what are you trying to do?" Blinking her eyes, Len Ruoxue revealed a calm smile and pretended to be confused. "I want to use you as fertilizer for my flowers." The Third Elder smiled evilly and spoke the truth. "So that's how it is. However, my flower fertilizer is poisonous. Are you sure you want to do this?" Leng Ruoxue remained calm as she asked. Poisonous? Humph. Can you poison the flowers here more than you can? The third elder said with confidence. That's true. However, before you use me as fertilizer, can you first answer a few of my questions? Leng Ruoxue asked with a smile on her face, as though she had completely disregarded her own life. What do you want to ask? The third elder asked kindly. It was obvious that he had agreed to let Leng Ruoxue be the ghost that understood the situation. Where's Godfather? Leng Ruoxue's first question was the same as before. Ha ha ha. Of course, that old thing is in my hands. The third elder no longer denied it and laughed complacently. Why did you capture Godfather? Although Godfather has expelled you from the family, I know that he has not mistreated you. But you still treat him like this, are you still human? Leng Ruoxue questioned him angrily. Why? Did he treat me as his son? He's just an old man who's helping an outsider. For an outsider like you, he's actually treating us like this. Is he still worthy of being my father? Yes. You're right, he did not mistreat us in some ways, but he expelled us from the Leng clan, which has already made it impossible for us to establish ourselves in the divine realm. Isn't that mistreating us? After hearing Leng Ruoxue's words, third elder retorted with burning jealousy. You really think he did it for me? Leng Ruoxue could not help but ask. If it wasn't for you, then was it for me? The third elder asked in a self-mocking manner. Of course it's not for you, but it's definitely not just for me. Godfather was doing it for the Ning family. He hoped that the Ning family would be united, but you? What did you do this time? Leng Ruoxue retorted. What did I do? I want the Ning family to draw a clear line with you, isn't that for the good of the Ning family? The third elder didn't think he had done anything wrong. Whether it's for the good of the Ning family or for your own selfish reasons, you know best. I'm too lazy to argue with you about this, but what I want to say is that Godfather definitely had foresight to drive you out of the Ning family. Otherwise, having a traitor like you in the Ning family would definitely be a fatal blow to the Ning family. Leng Ruoxue sneered. Ha ha ha. Well said. However, it's too late for you to say anything now. There's no way I'll let you leave today. After hearing Leng Ruoxue's words, the third elder laughed instead of getting angry. Don't worry, I don't plan on leaving just like that. In addition, I also want to know, what benefits did that bitch Wu Yan promise you to make you work so hard for her? Leng Ruoxue continued to ask. Chapter 2863, Are you threatening me? 3, you know that too. It seems that I've really underestimated you. However, since you want to know, I'll tell you. God Lord Rhyme has promised me a Ning family. The third elder said smugly. What do you mean? Leng Ruoxue asked in confusion. From now on, I'm the master of the Ning family. The third elder said with a smile. What about the current Ning family? Leng Ruoxue asked again. Of course it doesn't exist. In the future, the divine realm will only have my Ning family. Third elder had made it very clear. Leng Ruoxue nodded her head and said, so you're saying that you're planning to destroy the current Ning family? Not bad. The third elder didn't deny that he had such thoughts. Do you think you have that ability? Leng Ruoxue sized up third elder carefully, but she couldn't figure out where this fellow got his confidence from. Ha ha ha. God Lord Fog Ripple will naturally help me. Besides, isn't Master Ning already in my hands? The next one is that idiot second elder. The third elder laughed wildly. Third brother. You animal. How can you treat the Ning family like this? Before the third elder could finish laughing, the second elder's angry voice was heard. The furious second elder didn't care about Uncle Long's attempts to stop him. He jumped to the center of the arena and began to curse at the third elder. What's wrong with me treating the Ning family like this? And how did the Ning family treat me? Although the third elder was a little surprised to see the second elder, who should not have appeared here, he still replied in a self-righteous manner. How did the Ning family treat you? Other than banishing you, did the Ning family give you less territory or property? But you. What did you do this time? You colluded with the Ripple Mist bitch to harm our ancestor. Are you even human? Bah! If I had known you were like this, I would have let my ancestor strangle you to death when you were young. You animal! The second elder cursed. However, the third elder didn't take his words seriously and said fiercely, "Yes, you gave me a lot of territory and wealth, but you made me unable to establish myself in the divine realm, and made my clansmen become ants that everyone in the divine realm loathed and could step on. Do you think I won't hate you? Your Ning family has always been high and mighty, but have you ever thought about the feelings of us expelled people? If you didn't make any mistakes, would you have been expelled by the old ancestor?" Although the second elder knew that the third elder and the others wouldn't have a good time, he never thought that someone would dare to bully the third elder. After all, the third elder was a reverent god, so he couldn't possibly be bullied by a few pieces of trash, right? However, the third elder's words implied that their lives were rather miserable. But who could he blame? It would have been better if the second elder hadn't said that. What he said completely infuriated the third elder. Immediately, the third elder roared, "I made a mistake. I just want the Ning family to draw a clear line between themselves and Leng Ruoxue, this troublemaker. Is that wrong? Am I not doing this for the good of the Ning family?" The second elder didn't know how to refute the third elder's words. After all, there were many clansmen in the family who had such thoughts at that time. Even he had almost wavered at one point. Fortunately, he followed the orders of the ancestor. Therefore, as long as it was the ancestor's decision, he would fully support it, whether it was right or wrong. However, third brother was different. This fellow had been rebellious since he was young. This time, he had even offended the old ancestor because of Leng Ruoxue's matter, which resulted in him being expelled. Hence, he more or less sympathized with third brother's situation. However, he could not say that third brother's actions were right just because he sympathized with him, right? No matter what reason you have, you shouldn't have threatened the ancestor. As he thought of this, the tiny bit of sympathy he had for the third elder disappeared without a trace. People. When one did something wrong, they would always find thousands of reasons for themselves. They would not find the reason from themselves. They would even try to blame the mistake on others to prove that their choice was right. But was this useful? The crowd's eyes were sharp. It was not as if they did not have the ability to judge right from wrong. Hence, he really could not understand why third brother would want to go against Leng Ruoxue so wholeheartedly. Was it just because of the little grudge between them? One had to know that he and Leng Ruoxue had some personal grudges in the past. But now, both of them had let go of their grudges with a smile and were getting along quite well. Why couldn't third elder learn from him? Thinking of this, the second elder wanted to persuade the third elder to turn back from the wrong path. But just as he started, he was stopped by Leng Ruoxue. "Second elder, don't waste your breath. Third elder has already joined Raimai's sect." Leng Ruoxue said calmly. "What?" The second elder was shocked. When did this happen? Didn't it happen after third brother was expelled from the Leng family? Old man, you're such a fool. You still want to persuade him. He's long been Rhyme's dog, it's just that you don't know about it. Seeing the second elder's shocked expression, Bao Bao told him the truth. With its mind-reading ability, it had no problem reading the reverend god's mind. Therefore, the third elder's thoughts could not be hidden in front of it. How is this possible? The second elder was still in disbelief. This fact was far beyond his expectations. How could he accept this? Thanks, what's impossible? Didn't he go to the secret realm alone last time? Leng Ruoxue smiled. Don't tell me that time, the second elder stopped halfway through his sentence. Third elder, you were caught that time, right? Leng Ruoxue asked despite knowing the answer. So what if I am? Are you going to say that I've submitted to God Lord Fogripple just because I was captured? The third elder retorted. That's right. If you hadn't sided with that witch, she would never have let you go. Besides, you've already admitted that you were her man, so why don't you admit that you sided with her back then? AI. A man's mind is so hard to understand. Len Ruoshua sighed, while baby Sue could not help but cover her mouth and laugh. After he was done laughing, Bao Bao said, "Sister, it's obvious." If he had turned to the old bitch, Rhymice, at that time, he would have been the sinner of the Ning family. For tens of thousands of years, the Ning family had been free, but he had found a master for the Ning family. It would be strange if the old man of the Ning family let him off. If old man Ning had known all of this at the time, he wouldn't have expelled him at all. I'm afraid he would have been killed long ago. That's true. Baby, why is this person still not satisfied when he has clearly gained an advantage? He always felt that it was the Ning family and godfather who mistreated him. How could he have the face to think that way? Len Ruoshua was still echoing baby Su's words and asked in confusion. Some human. He was just this shameless. Sister, let's ignore him and just cut it off. The baby suggested after he was done laughing. When the third elder heard this, he immediately sneered and said, "Cut me off. In your dreams. Humph. None of you will leave here alive today. Then what do you want? You want to keep all of us here with just a few men in black?" Len Ruoshua blinked her beautiful eyes and asked innocently. Humph. You'll know when the time comes. The third elder laughed. Then, he whistled towards the sky and looked at Len Ruoshua proudly. Len Ruoshua, prepare to die. All right, he said. Len Ruoshua nodded in agreement. I'm sorry to disturb you, where should I throw this trash? At this moment, an embarrassed voice was heard. The third elder turned around subconsciously and saw two handsome men standing not far behind him. At their feet, there was a pile of men in black, their fates unknown. And these? Uncle Long and the others also came over and threw a pile of garbage over. Looking at the man in black who had been thrown to the ground, the third elder was furious, while the other men in black who had survived were trembling. Woo! These people were so powerful. They didn't even notice the other party's silent arrival. What should they do? The men in black looked at third elder helplessly. The third elder, who had high hopes placed on him, could only be filled with anger and disbelief. You! Why are you here? Shouldn't you? The third elder could not finish his sentence. The truth was that their plan to lure the enemy had failed. The other party was unscathed, while countless people on his side had died. This fact made third elder even angrier. I'm sorry to have interrupted your plan. Oh, your plan is perfect, but it's a pity that you've met us. Ice Spirit said guiltily. Yup. We really didn't want to ruin your plan, but these men in black can't take a beating. So, we can only appear in front of you alive and well. You must be disappointed, right? Uncle Long agreed. Disappointment. He was far more than disappointed. The third elder's lungs were about to explode from anger. These guys are really too detestable. He knew that the other party was not easy to deal with, so he did not rush to make a move from the beginning. He wanted to lead them to a place with a trap before making his move, but who knew that he would still fail? A sense of defeat welled up in third elder's heart, but he was not willing to be defeated just like that. He turned around and shouted at Len Ruoshua with a burning rage, Len Ruoshua, take your men and leave this place immediately. Otherwise, you will see Master Ning's corpse. Bastard! Quickly release our ancestor. Hearing this, before Len Ruoshua could even react, second elder could not control himself and jumped up in anger. Hee hee. If you want me to release her, we'll have to see Len Ruoxu's performance. Hearing the second elder's words, the third elder suddenly felt that he had found the other party's weak spot, so he said with a proud smile. Are you threatening me? Len Ruoshua asked calmly. Chapter 2864, Don't be sad, I'm no match for you. 1, That's right, I'm threatening you. The third elder laughed smugly, as if saying, "I'm threatening you, what can you do to me? You think your threat will work on me?" Leng Ruoxue asked calmly when she saw how proud the other party was. "Of course, unless you don't want to save that old man anymore." Third elder felt that he had grasped Leng Ruoxue's weak spot and continued to threaten her. "Leng Ruoxue, I've changed my mind. You don't need to bring them away now. I want you to stay here and use you to exchange for that damn old man. How about it? What if I refuse?" Leng Ruoxue glanced at third elder and asked. "Then you'll immediately see that damn old man's corpse." The third elder said viciously. You animal. Woo-woo." Hearing this, the second elder cursed angrily. However, just as he cursed, Uncle Long covered his mouth. He was so angry that he could only glare at Uncle Long. However, Uncle Long didn't care about the glare. He just didn't want this idiot to ruin Shuai's plans. "Leng Ruoxue, you won't reject me, right? The old man loves you so much." At this moment, third elder saw that Leng Ruoxue had not replied and could not help but continue to provoke her. "Yes, you're right. I'm going to reject it." Leng Ruoxue laughed coldly. Then, as expected, she saw the third elder's dumbfounded expression and the second elder's disbelieving face. Following that, Leng Ruoxue continued, "You want to make me stay with just these few men? Aren't you a little too confident? That's right, you dare to threaten us? Do you think you're a rhyme bitch? Let me tell you the truth. Let alone your threats, even if that bitch Wu Chen were to threaten us, we wouldn't fall for it," Uncle Long said with a smirk. You don't want to save that old man?" Hearing the other party's words, the third elder's face turned black with anger, but he didn't give up. "Of course we have to save her, but we don't plan on letting you go," Leng Ruoxue said with a smile. Hee. "Shuai, why are you still wasting your breath on him? Well, deal with him while you go and save the others." Ice Spirit, who had been watching for too long, couldn't take it anymore. "All right. Leave this old man alive," Leng Ruoxue warned. Then, before third elder could even react, she angrily kicked him again before leaving. Third elder, who had been kicked to the ground by Leng Ruoxue, could not react in time. By the time he regained his senses, he was already surrounded by Uncle Long and the others. Looking at the crowd surrounding him, third elder felt a chill in his heart. Was he going to just surrender? No. He was unwilling to accept this. With a furious roar, the third elder jumped up from the ground and attacked the second elder. Seeing this, the second elder was stunned for a moment. Then, he was pushed aside by Uncle Long, who thought he was in the way. As a result, the third elder missed, and Uncle Long went to meet him. Seeing that his opponent had changed to Uncle Long, the third elder felt bitter in his heart. Fuck. He didn't want to fight this old whale at all. His target was the second elder. After all, he knew that he still had a chance of winning against the second elder. However, if he were to face Uncle Long, he would not even have the chance to escape. The third elder was extremely depressed, but what made him even more depressed was yet to come. Thanks apart from Uncle Long, Bing Pe, Dongfang Yu, and Dongfang Lin, who were unwilling to be left out, looked at each other and also attacked the third elder. The third elder, who was attacked from both sides, was so angry that he almost vomited blood. You bastard! The other party was actually launching a group attack. This was really bullying. The third elder was so angry that he wanted to curse, but the other party didn't give him a chance to do so. He was exhausted from dealing with the situation and was completely flustered. At this moment, Huan Qin saw that there was no place for him to fight, so he wanted to drag third elder to deal with the black-clothed men's minions. Who knew that when he turned his head, he would find that the black-clothed men had all been knocked to the ground by the poisonous snakes, foaming at the mouth and twitching all over. The old viper looked at Huan Qin with an embarrassed expression and grinned. I'm sorry, I didn't leave any for you guys. Hearing this, Huan Chen's mouth twitched. This was already considered cheap, yet he was still acting innocent. Forget it, if he didn't leave any, then so be it. However, what should he do with these men in black? Before Huan Chen could think of a solution, he saw the venomous snakes, under Old Snake's eye signal, each use their tails to carry a few men in black. They slowly walked to the flowers in the yard and then uniformly threw the men tied to their tails into the middle of the gorgeous flowers. In an instant, the flowers who smelled the delicious food all went crazy. Countless tentacles reached out from the center of the flower and stabbed into the dead man in black. Seeing the man in black's blood being sucked dry and the corpse turning from plump and lustrous to shriveled, Huan Chen's forehead was filled with black lines. Could he say that these flowers were definitely the best biological weapons to destroy the evidence? And these snakes, they were indeed from different families. If Shuai was here, she would probably have the same thoughts as these poisonous snakes. And after doing all this, old venomous snake even looked a little embarrassed, as if he had snatched someone else's job and was too embarrassed to do it. Seeing this, Huan Chen's mouth twitched even more. He already knew that Baby Su's subordinates were not good people, especially these snakes. But you've done something bad, can't you be more calm? What's there to be shy about? But at this moment, old venomous snake fearfully said, Lord Huan Chen, Miss Leng won't blame us for disposing of these black-clothed men's corpses without permission, right? I won tea, Huan Chen replied expressionlessly. However, he couldn't help but complain in his heart, because that girl would deal with it the same way you did. It had to be said that Huan Chen understood Leng Ruoxue very well. At this moment, Leng Ruoxue had already entered the only room in the courtyard. Under Qing Ju's guidance, Leng Ruoxue was familiar with the place and found the underground secret room as if she was walking in her own backyard. Leng Ruoxue easily undid the secret underground room's array and walked in. The secret room was pitch black, and the smell was not very fresh. Hence, Leng Ruoxue did not even think and immediately lit up a small flame. It instantly lit up the entire secret chamber and at the same time, she could see everything inside clearly. At the very top of this secret room, there was a blood pool. In the middle of the pool, there was a huge blood cherry flower in full bloom. Not far from the blood pool, there were rows of prison cells. In the first cell, Leng Ruoxue had already noticed her godfather's figure. At this moment, Master Ning was unconscious. A wind blade shot out from Leng Ruoxue's fingertips and broke the lock of the cell. Then, Leng Ruoxue strode into the cell and fed an elixir to her godfather. She then helped him up. Not long after, Master Ning opened his eyes. Seeing the person in front of him, Master Ning couldn't help but be shocked. Shuai, you were also caught by that beast. Chapter 2865, Don't be sad, I can't compare to you, too, no, godfather, I'm here to save you. Leng Ruoxue hurriedly replied. Woo. Shuai, I thought I would never see you guys again. Seeing that Leng Ruoxue wasn't captured, Master Ning suddenly became weak and hugged Leng Ruoxue, wailing. Seeing this, Leng Ruoxue could only try to coax him. After coaxing her godfather with much difficulty, Leng Ruoxue finally had the chance to check on her godfather's appearance. Other than his clothes being a little wrinkled, he did not have any external injuries. As for his mental state, it was not bad. She was relieved. After that, Leng Ruoxue turned her attention to the other people in the cell. Right now, in the prison cell, other than her own godfather, the only person she was most familiar with could only be the White Tiger race's Grand Elder. However, the appearance of the White Tiger race's Grand Elder was much more haggard than her godfather. Not only was his face pale, his clothes were also stained with blood. Shuai, it looks like the three beasts were all captured by that beast. Master Ning's face was filled with hatred as he looked in the direction of Leng Ruoxue's target. Not only did that beast capture the three beasts, it also wanted him. Godfather, we'll discuss this later. You wake them up first. I'll go and kill that blood cherry blossom. As Leng Ruoxue spoke, she handed Master Ning a bottle of pills, then left the cell with her baby. When she returned to the side of the blood pool, Len Ruoxue threw a ball of fire at it without a second thought. In an instant, the blood cherry blossom in the blood pool was enraged. The blood in the pool churned like boiling lava, with huge bubbles rising from it. The blood cherry blossoms flapped their huge petals and let out sharp shrieks. Arg! Human, I will not let you off. Blood cherry blossom was furious. It had already pretended to be dead, so why was this woman still not letting it go? Must they kill it? The blood Sakura had thought of this, but it could no longer control the anger in its heart. In reality, when it had sensed Len Ruoxue's aura, it had been so frightened that it had not even dared to breathe. After all, this woman's flames were the absolute nemesis of it. Thus, it was very afraid and had wanted to play dead to avoid this calamity. Who knew that she had no intention of letting it go and still wanted to burn it to death? Fuck. Seeing that it didn't show its might, did it think it was a sick flower? The furious blood cherry blossom knew that Len Ruoxue was not easy to deal with. Hence, it did not hold back from the start. Countless feelers extended out from the center of its pistil, baring its fangs and brandishing its claws as it pounced towards Len Ruoxue. Fuck. It's so disgusting. After dealing with Third Elder, Uncle Long, who had brought his men to support Len Ruoxue, could not help but curse when he saw this scene. The Second Elder, who had never seen a blood cherry blossom before, was so frightened that her face turned pale. She immediately squatted on the ground and vomited in disgust. Seeing this, Uncle Long patted the Second Elder's shoulder sympathetically and said, "Second brother, you can't do it. You're vomiting just like that." Hearing Uncle Long's words, the Second Elder was extremely depressed. Woo! Can't you not call him second brother? And don't mention that he vomited, okay? He felt so embarrassed. Why did he vomit? The Second Elder was obviously a little too worried, and the others couldn't help but laugh when they heard Uncle Long's teasing. Suddenly, the Second Elder felt his old face burning as if it was on fire. Sob. This time, I've really lost a lot of face. The Second Elder was both worried and angry. He wanted to find a chance to prove his manly side. Thus, in the heat of the moment, he didn't even think twice before charging toward the blood cherry blossom's feelers. Ah! Second brother must have suffered quite a shock. Uncle Long continued to tease the Second Elder. Yup. He's playing with his life. Ice Spirit was speechless. The Second Elder was already pitiful enough. Why was Uncle Long gloating? However, Uncle Long wasn't the only one who was gloating. Dongfang Lin, Huan Chen, and even the other vipers all hoped to see the Second Elder's heroic side, so they all began to cheer him on. Thanks, Second Brother is mighty. Dongfang Lin yelled. Second Brother, all the best. I have high hopes for you. Huan Chen said, not willing to be outdone. Good luck. Good luck. Second Elder, destroy these blood-sucking tubes. Old Venomous Snake led his descendants and cheered in unison. As for Len Ruoxue, who was preparing to fight the blood cherry blossom, when she heard these voices, she was speechless and didn't know what to say. Then, from the corner of her eye, she saw the main character of the voice madly rush into the middle of the tentacles. Instantly, Len Ruoxue's face darkened. The Second Elder had gone mad. The appraisal was complete. He was basically delivering food to the blood cherry blossom. As expected, the blood cherry blossom welcomed the Second Elder's suicidal rhythm. It spread out several tentacles in order to welcome the other party's embrace. As soon as the Second Elder rushed into the middle of the tentacles, he tragically discovered that he was tightly bound by them. Save me. Save me. The Second Elder was a little scared. More importantly, when he looked at the tentacles up close, he felt even more disgusted, especially when he saw the red blood flowing on the transparent walls of the tentacles. He felt that he would never want to eat again in his life. Oh. It was too disgusting. That idiot. Master Ning, who had saved the White Tiger Great Elder and the other beasts, couldn't help but curse when he saw this scene when he came out of the cell. Master Ning, please save him. Otherwise, the weak white tiger first elder couldn't help but worry when he saw the Ning family's second elder's miserable state. Ai. He had suffered the same pain before, so he knew the pain very well. Don't worry, with Shuai here, he won't die. Master Ning said with some disappointment. Ah. Seeing that Master Ning was not worried at all, the great elder of the white tiger could only keep silent. At the same time, Len Ruoxue moved closer to the blood cherry blossom, causing the petals to lean back in fear. They were afraid that the flames on the other party's fingertips would burn them. What, are you afraid? If you're afraid, then let second elder go. Len Ruoxue threatened. Even if I let him go, you won't let me go. That's why I'm not that stupid. Even if I die, I'll take someone with me. Blood Cherry Blossom roared angrily. Miss Leng, save me. Listening to the conversation between Len Ruoxue and the flower, the second elder said weakly. Sob. Can you please save him first? You shut up. Feeling that second elder was a little noisy, Len Ruoxue first shouted at him before turning to the blood cherry, if you let him go, I'll let you die a quick death. Otherwise, I'll definitely make you wish you were dead. Little flower, you're a smart flower. You should know how to choose, right? He's going to die anyway, so don't think that I'll let this stupid old man off. After hearing Len Ruoxue's words, the blood cherry blossom was still unwilling to relent. It even felt that it would only be safe with this old man in its hands. When Len Ruoxue heard the other party's words, she smiled indifferently and said, Little flower, this isn't your style. Didn't you want to fight me to the death just now? Come on. Show me your attitude, I'll be waiting for you. Chapter 2866, Don't be sad, I'm no match for you. 3. Do you think I'm that easy to fool? I wanted to fight you because I didn't have any other targets to use. Now that I have one, who would be so stupid as to want to die? Human, if you want me to let this old man go, you have to let me go. I'm not joking. Blood Cherry Blossom roared viciously. When everyone heard Snow Cherry Blossom's threat, they couldn't help but sigh. Since when did a flower become so intelligent? However, they also knew that this flower wasn't an ordinary flower. In this case, it was normal for this flower to threaten others. Human, think about it. Seeing that Len Ruoxue didn't give any response, Shuai Cherry Blossoms considerately asked. There's no need to think about it. It doesn't matter to me whether this old man is alive or not. If you like him, you can take him. So, you still have to die. Len Ruoxue followed Shuai Yinghua's lead. Then, she couldn't help but ask the second elder, I definitely won't let go of this flower. So, for the sake of the divine realm's stability, for the sake of exterminating the Ripple Mist bitch as soon as possible, you should sacrifice yourself. When the time comes, we will hold a grand funeral for you and announce your heroic deeds to the entire divine realm. You can rest in peace. The moment Len Ruoxue finished speaking, the second elder closed his eyes and fainted. Blood Cherry Blossom was so angry that she was trembling. Fuck. Was the other party really not going to care about this old man? It didn't believe it. In order to verify the truth, the furious Blood Cherry Blossom decided to directly suck the second elder's blood. But at this moment, several blades of divine power flew over from all directions and cut off the Blood Cherry Blossom's feelers. The second elder also fell to the ground with a bang. The second elder, who had fallen to the ground, rolled over and got up, quickly retreating from the range of the Blood Cherry Blossom's tentacles. The second elder, who felt that he had just escaped death, was now covered in cold sweat, and his face was deathly pale. After returning to the safe area, the second elder, who thought he could be comforted, was rewarded with Master Ning's iron fist. The second elder, who was beaten, could only cry, but did not dare to seek justice. Woo! He almost lost his life and was beaten up. Was there anyone in this world who was more miserable than him? However, the second elder, who knew that he was in the wrong, did not dare to say anything. He could only look at his own ancestor with an aggrieved expression. Idiot. He didn't know what was good for him. With your little strength, you still dare to move forward. Don't you see who here isn't stronger than you? The master of the Ning family shouted. The second elder obediently looked around and discovered to his dismay that, not counting the white tiger race's grand elder and the other beasts that had just been rescued, the strength of everyone present was truly above his. Even those poisonous snakes were not something he could compare to. That was because they were poisonous, and he did not. Sob. I'm a reverent god after all, how did I end up in such a situation? He actually became the weakest among all of them. How could he endure this? Just as the second elder was lamenting to himself, Bing Yao, who had been watching the show from behind her father, stuck out her cute little head and consoled, "Second elder, right? Don't be sad, my strength can't be compared to yours, so my father only let me watch the show. We can be considered to be in the same boat." Was this comforting? After hearing this, the second elder felt even worse. Sob. This consolation really hurt his self-esteem. He was actually on the same level as the Qilin cub. How was he going to face others in the future? When the others heard this, they couldn't help but laugh. Seeing this, the second elder only wanted to find a hole to hide in. However, he was not the only one who had a bad feeling. Compared to the second elder, Blood Cherry Blossom's feelings could only be worse. It had never dreamed that the human it had captured would be so shameless as to pretend to be unconscious so that it would let its guard down. But what it hated more was that some humans had actually launched sneak attacks. How detestable. Despicable human. At the thought of this, Blood Cherry Blossom could not help but roar at Leng Ruoxue in a vicious and furious manner. "Damn human, you deliberately attracted my attention just to let others save you? You're right, so I've decided to give you a reward. Little flower, die." As soon as Leng Ruoxue finished speaking, the flames in her hands expanded by several times. Then, a ball of fire flew towards the Blood Cherry Blossom, instantly trapping it in a sea of fire. The Blood Cherry Blossom let out a series of agonized curses from within the flames. As the flames burned, the curses grew softer and softer. By the time Leng Ruoxue retracted her flames, the Blood Cherry Blossoms had already turned into ashes. The blood in the pool turned into dust and dissipated into the air. After that, Leng Ruoxue turned around and saw that the White Tiger Grand Elder and the other beasts had all been rescued. She then led the group out of the secret chamber. On the way out of the secret chamber, Leng Ruoxue saw that everyone on her side was present. She asked curiously, "Where's the third elder? Who's watching? Don't let that guy get away." Hearing this, Ice Spirit and the others had strange expressions. No one said anything. As for Old Venomous Snake, he said with an embarrassed look, "No one is watching." Did he knock her out?" Leng Ruoxue guessed. Following that, she heard Old Venomous Snake's conflicted expression as he stammered, "All of our snakes bit him, so he's deeply poisoned. He won't wake up for a while." Looking at the countless little snakes in front of her, Leng Ruoxue's face darkened. Every snake bit him once. Ugh! Could she say that she was starting to pity Third Elder? When Master Ning heard this, he patted Old Viper's head and said, "Good job. That beast has to be punished like this." Thanks, the old poisonous snake was a little embarrassed by Master Ning's praise. In fact, it really wanted to say that it was not a punishment, but that no one was willing to stay outside to watch that guy, and the snakes were not willing, so they bit him. While they were talking, they had already reached the courtyard. At this moment, the only person still gasping for breath in the courtyard was Third Elder. As for the other black-robed men, Leng Ruoxue could only see their black clothes, but they were all gone. However, Leng Ruoxue understood when she saw the men in black lying among the flowers. Whose idea was this? Leng Ruoxue pointed at the black clothes among the flowers and asked calmly. It's me." Seeing that no one answered, Old Venomous Snake had to admit it. "Not bad, but it's not very clean." As soon as Leng Ruoxue finished speaking, a small flame floated above the flowers. In an instant, the flowers were set ablaze. From the flames, a human-like sobbing sound could be heard. The group of venomous snakes was a little dumbfounded when they saw this. This was much cleaner, but they didn't have fire. After that, the snakes saw that Uncle Long and the others were used to it. They knew that they hadn't done it thoroughly enough. However, Leng Ruoxiu's way of doing things had won the hearts of all the snakes. In an instant, Leng Ruoxiu was viewed as the absolute idol by all the vipers. Even the great beast deity was ranked behind Leng Ruoxiu. After dealing with the men in black, they set Third Elder's main residence on fire. Leng Ruoxiu and the rest then carried the unconscious Third Elder and returned to the White Tiger territory. As for the rest of the Ning family, the Second Elder would deal with them. With the experience of escaping from death, Leng Ruoxiu and the rest believed that Second Elder would not be soft-hearted towards the Ning family members who had been led astray. When they arrived at the White Tiger race's territory, Leng Ruoxiu and the rest immediately returned to the mountain stream where they had stayed previously. The remaining Golden Bee tribe was overjoyed to see them return. "Little Bumblebee, pack up your things. We're preparing to go home." Leng Ruoxiu smiled as she spoke to the little thing that was dancing in front of her. When the bees heard this, they danced even more happily before they disappeared in front of Leng Ruoxiu and the others. When they reappeared, they had clearly packed up. Then, a human-shaped piece of trash was thrown in front of Leng Ruoxiu and the rest. Looking at the man in black, Leng Ruoxiu turned to Master Ning and said, "Godfather, I'll leave this person to you." "No need, just cut it off. I don't want to see him again." Master Ning didn't even raise his head and said directly, Don't waste it, let us test the medicine." The moment Shin Nua heard that, she hurriedly said, "All right." Master Ning was very generous. As for the unconscious man in black, he had no idea that his fate had been decided. But whether he knew or not, it was obviously not important to everyone. Following that, everyone did not say a word to the White Tiger race, and quietly returned to Demon City. The first thing Uncle Long did when he got home was to arrange a territory for the Golden Bee tribe and the poisonous snakes. Fortunately, they did not care about the size of the place, as long as they could get closer to the beast deity. However, the Golden Bee tribe still had a small request, and that was that the place they lived in must have many flowers. Uncle Long heard this and thought, isn't it easy to spend more money? In the end, he decided to give a part of the garden to these little things as their territory. The Golden Bee tribe was naturally very satisfied with the garden. After arranging their living quarters, Uncle Long went to the living room to attend the hearing. The one being interrogated was, of course, the Third Elder, but when Uncle Long arrived at the living room, he realized that the Third Elder was still unconscious. Ugh! What was going on? The interrogation hasn't started yet? After sitting down, Uncle Long looked at Master Ning, who obviously didn't look too good. He tried hard not to ask, but he was very curious in his heart. How far had they gone? After looking at the crowd for a long time, Uncle Long even coughed a few times deliberately to remind everyone of his existence. But Ice Spirit and the others only looked up at him and said nothing. Uncle Long was even more puzzled. In the end, he fixed his dazed gaze on Leng Ruoxiu. Leng Ruoxiu sighed and said, "Godfather, how do you plan to deal with this person? He's a sinner of the Ning family. This kind of person can't be kept. Just kill him." After a long time, Master Ning gave his opinion. Hearing this, Uncle Long was even more confused. They decided to kill him just like that. Chapter 2867, You've already been exposed, stop pretending. 1. At first, Uncle Long thought that although this man had done something wrong, he was still the son of the Ning family's old boy, so he should at least be spared. Who knew that the old man from the Ning family would directly kill him without saying a word? What kind of situation was this? However, no one explained to Uncle Long, which made him anxious. Finally, Uncle Long couldn't take it anymore and shouted, "Can any of you tell me how the interrogation is going?" Towards the end, Uncle Long's voice subconsciously lowered as he faced everyone's surprised gazes. He even felt a little guilty. Sighing, Master Ning looked at Uncle Long again and said, "Not only did this beast seek refuge with Wu Yan, it has also hurt many of our people. Therefore, we can't stay here any longer." "Ah. Then let's do it." Uncle Long didn't want to get to the bottom of it, so he agreed. "Shuai, help me deal with this beast. Don't let him die too easily." Master Ning stood up and said to Leng Ruoxue after hearing what Uncle Long had to say. He then left the living room alone. Watching her godfather's back view, Leng Ruoxue sighed softly. Then, she turned her gaze to Third Elder, who was lying on the ground. With a thought, she moved Third Elder into the bracelet. After that, Leng Ruoxue also stood up and left. In the next few days, the Leng family's residence in Demon City was shrouded in a dark cloud. Leng Ruoxue and the others did not feel good because of Master Ning's sorrow and loneliness. When the second elder finished dealing with the third elder's problems and rushed to Demon City to report to the second elder, he clearly sensed the dejected atmosphere in Demon City. He was at a loss for what to do. The great ancestor ignored him, and Uncle Long and the others ignored him as well. The only people who talked to him every day were the golden bees and the poisonous snakes. Sobs. How did he end up like this? The second elder was a little worried. The old snake couldn't stand it. He couldn't control others and wouldn't listen to him, but the second elder should be an obedient little guy. After thinking about this, old venomous snake poured all his love into second elder. Every day, he would not only ask for warmth, but also prepare food and bring it to second elder. Unfortunately, second elder would feel nauseated at the sight of food, so he could only disappoint old venomous snake's love. However, the old viper didn't give up and continued to prepare food for the second elder. He was completely treating him as his own grandson. The final result was that the second elder hid far away when he saw old venomous snake. However, the old venomous snake was definitely a snake with quite a strong will. Therefore, under its relentless pursuit, the second elder fled from the land of demons in an extremely sorry state. The moment the second elder escaped, the white tiger race, dragon race, and phoenix race came knocking on his door. With a guest, Uncle Long and the others naturally couldn't be as lonely as before. Therefore, except for Master Ning, who was still worried, everyone else appeared in front of the three beasts in high spirits. In the living room, the three beasts looked at Uncle Dragon and the others uneasily. They wanted to say something, but they hesitated. Uncle Long saw that they didn't dare to say anything and got angry. "You bastard! If there's something to say, say it. If there's a fart, let it out. You're also hemming and hawing like a man. If there's something, just say it. Why are you so hesitant?" Uncle Long couldn't take it anymore. However, his words were still reserved. At least he didn't curse directly. Of course, this was also because he saw that the beasties in front of him looked extremely haggardly, so he was much more amiable. "That. Is Miss Ling around?" After hesitating for a long time, the white tiger first elder finally spoke as a representative. "She is, but Shuai is cultivating. If there's nothing important, don't disturb her," Uncle Long said after thinking for a while. "Thanks, we would like to express our gratitude to Miss Leng in person," the white tiger first elder said after taking a deep breath. "Thank you. How do you want to thank me?" Uncle Long asked, blinking his eyes. The three beasts were dumbfounded. Uncle Long's words were so direct. How could they respond? They had prepared some gifts, but they were afraid that he would not like them. More importantly, they had a favor to ask of him. "You haven't thought about it? If you haven't thought it through, then go back first. We're very busy." Seeing that the beastie was silent, Uncle Long had no choice but to say, "Yes, we've prepared some small gifts." Seeing that the other party had the intention to chase him away, the white tiger first elder hurriedly said, "Oh. Just leave it to me," Uncle Long said. The representatives of the three beast clans were completely dumbfounded. Did the other party mean that they were not allowed to see Leng Ruoxue? This can't do. With this thought in mind, an elder of the dragon tribe quickly said, Uncle Long, on the account that we all have the bloodline of the dragon clan, can you let us meet Miss Leng? I said Shuer is busy. I don't have time to see you. In addition, stop trying to get close to me. Who has the blood of the dragon race like you? I'm not related to you. Uncle Long didn't give him any face at all, and he immediately choked the dragon elder to the point that he couldn't say anything. Hearing Uncle Long's words, the great elder of White Tiger knew that it was useless to try to get close to him, so he could only tell him the truth. Uncle Long, we have a favor to ask of Miss Leng. You have a favor to ask? Why didn't you say so earlier? Uncle Long asked faintly, but he couldn't help but sneer in his heart. These old things, are they always so blunt when they speak and do things? Do they have to beat around the bush? Ugh! Wasn't it hard to say earlier? The White Tiger First Elder could not help but think to himself. Of course, he couldn't say this out loud. Otherwise, he would be ridiculed by Uncle Long and the others. After making up his words, the White Tiger First Elder said, we had originally planned to personally beg Miss Leng, you mean, other than Shuer, we can't help you? Uncle Long interrupted the White Tiger First Elder before he could finish. It was obvious that Uncle Long was a little angry, and the White Tiger First Elder was even more at a loss. Originally, he had wanted to elevate Leng Ruoxue's status, but he had not expected that he would accidentally offend Uncle Long. Woo! What should he do? The White Tiger First Elder was at a complete loss. He could only look at Uncle Long with tears in his eyes and a pitiful expression. Please be pitiful. But we really have no reason to help you. Uncle Long muttered to himself. The representatives of the three beast tribes immediately burst into tears upon hearing this. Sobs. Did this mean that he didn't want to care? Uncle Long, don't be like this. After a long silence, the White Tiger First Elder finally pleaded with a choked voice. How am I? Uncle Long blinked in confusion. Don't ignore us. The White Tiger First Elder said with tears streaming down his face. Great Elder White Tiger, do you think Demon City is the savior? Who has to care? Hearing this, Uncle Long laughed and couldn't help but ask. I didn't mean it that way. We have a bit of friendship, right? The First Elder of the White Tiger clan asked carefully. As he spoke, he looked at Uncle Long's expression, afraid that his words would anger the other party. Chapter 2868, You've already been exposed, stop pretending. 2. Great Elder White Tiger, we're just making a deal. Where's the friendship? Don't you forget that your three beast tribes betrayed us back then and were our enemies. Now you're asking for the enemy's help, how can the kings of your three clans bear this? Uncle Long sneered. Hearing this, the White Tiger First Elder was heartbroken. Was the other party going to fall out with him? However, it seemed like his race and Demon City really did have a deal. Sob. What should I do? Uncle Long glanced at the White Tiger Great Elder's bitter face and ordered, Come beast, bring the king of the three beast clans in. The little golden bees immediately received the order, and not long after, the kings of the three beast clans were led to the living room by a group of venomous snakes. The representatives of the three families didn't know what to say when they saw their king in such a sorry state. They didn't understand why Uncle Long had brought the three kings here. The three high-spirited beast kings were now dispirited. Their heads were drooped, and no one knew what they were thinking. At this moment, Uncle Dragon pointed at the representatives of the three beast races and said to the Phoenix King, the White Tiger King, and the Dragon Emperor, These elders want to ask us for help, what do you three think? Hearing this, the Phoenix King was the first to raise her head. When she saw the elder of the Phoenix tribe, she immediately roared, Fuck! Did you guys take the wrong medicine? Who was the one who caused the Feng clan to fall to this state? You still want to ask them for help? Get back to the Feng clan and stop embarrassing me. Upon hearing the Phoenix King's angry roar, Uncle Long smiled faintly and said, The Phoenix King seems to be in a good state of mind. Upon hearing this, the Phoenix King was shocked to realize that she had exposed herself. Your sister. Previously, she had pretended to be dispirited so that she would suffer less, but she didn't expect to be exposed so quickly. Sob. How was she going to live her days in the future? The Phoenix King was so regretful that his intestines turned green. She was the one who exposed herself. However, even though she was regretful, since she had already been exposed, she couldn't let herself suffer no matter what. So, without thinking, she kicked the White Tiger King and the Dragon Emperor's buttocks and roared, "You've already been exposed, stop pretending. Your sister. You're the one who's exposed. Why did you expose us?" The White Tiger King and the Dragon Emperor were enraged. For a moment, the three Beast Kings glared at each other like roosters. Seeing them like this, Uncle Long laughed very happily. On the other hand, the representatives of the three beast tribes blushed, and they wanted to find a hole to hide in. You bastard! This was their king. Was this really too embarrassing? However, Uncle Long obviously didn't think that they had embarrassed themselves enough. He smiled and said with an unusually kind attitude, "You guys haven't seen each other for so long, catch up. Remember, don't fight. If you break anything here, you'll have to pay 100 times the compensation." After saying that, Uncle Long left with the others. When they returned to the living room, it was already a few hours later. Thanks after a few hours, the representatives of the three beast tribes were already in a sorry state. However, the kings of the three beast tribes were clearly in an even more miserable state. Especially the White Tiger King. When he saw Uncle Dragon, it was as if he had seen a family member. He immediately hugged Uncle Dragon's leg and started howling. He even begged Uncle Dragon to save the White Tiger race. Uncle Long was baffled. He turned to the White Tiger First Elder and asked with his eyes, "What did you feed this old white tiger? How did he suddenly become so weak?" Fuck. She was even hugging his thigh. Uncle Long kicked the White Tiger King away in disgust and sat down on a chair. He then looked around the living room. Oh. Good, nothing was broken. It seemed that these beastie had completely taken his words to heart. Uncle Long, please save the White Tiger race. At this moment, the White Tiger First Elder also knelt down in front of Uncle Long and cried bitterly. First Elder of the White Tiger clan, what are you doing? Didn't you already save the White Tiger race? Uncle Long blinked and asked in confusion. Only a portion of them were saved. The other half is in the hands of that bitch, Wu Chen. Speaking of this, the White Tiger First Elder was completely enraged. More importantly, the rescued clansmen had all lost too much blood, and their combat effectiveness had been reduced, including them. Although they were standing in front of Uncle Long and the others as if nothing had happened, in reality, their bodies were severely depleted and they were like arrows at the end of their flight. But we're also enemies, Uncle Dragon reminded the White Tiger King. Uncle Long, aside from Demon City, no one else can contend against that bitch, Rhyme. So, you can't just leave us here, right? The White Tiger First Elder quickly said. You're wrong. Right now, even Demon City can't contend against that Ripple Mist bitch. So, I don't think we can help you. Uncle Long said honestly. In fact, the reason why he rejected them was because he looked down on some of the three beast clans' actions. They clearly had something to ask of him, but they didn't say it directly when they came. Who were they trying to play tricks with? They didn't have the time to play guessing games with each other. More importantly, Uncle Long felt that the other party was not sincere. As such, the three beast tribes' request for help naturally failed. The representatives of the three beast tribes choked with sobs upon seeing Uncle Long's direct rejection. Uncle Long was annoyed by their cries and couldn't help but shout, "What, now you regret it? When you first joined the Fog Ripple bitch, why didn't you think that this day would come? Is this retribution?" It was undeniable that Uncle Long had vented his anger after seeing the three beast clans in such a state. This was the result of asking a tiger for its skin. Initially, he had planned to let Shuai tame the ORCC from the Three Beasts tribe. But now that he saw them in this state, he really didn't have any such thoughts at all. Even if such a beast was tamed, it would not be of much use. Uncle Long looked at the crying representatives of the Three Beast tribes with a look of disdain and continued to roar, "Cry! You guys only know how to cry. A bunch of trash. To think that you all call yourselves the Four Great King Divine Beasts. Look at your current appearance, do you have the aura of the Four King Divine Beasts? To tell you the truth, in our eyes, you are also our enemies and should be destroyed. And now that she's helped us, we can't thank her enough. You're still counting on us to help you save people. So what if he saved her? They will still become our captives." Uncle Long's words were venomous, but the White Tiger First Elder couldn't help but say, "Uncle Long, didn't you guys save us before? So what? Just because I saved you before, I have to work like a horse for you?" Uncle Long said hatefully. At this moment, he really regretted suggesting for Shuai to tame them. If it weren't for his suggestion, they wouldn't have known that the Three Beast tribes had fallen, and they wouldn't have been entangled with them so naturally. But that was then and this was now. Seeing that the Three Beasts only knew how to cry and hug someone's thigh when they were in trouble, Uncle Long had completely given up on the idea of Shuai taming them. These useless beasts, even if they were tamed, it would only be a waste of food. Rather than that, it would be better to let them live and die on their own. In any case, since things had already come to this, they could no longer collude with the rhyme bitch, nor would they pose any threat to them. Chapter 2869, You've already been exposed, stop pretending. 3. With that thought in mind, it was even more natural for Uncle Long to despise them. After that, he ordered the poisonous snakes to move out and send the representatives of the Three Beast clans away. After the Three Orc tribe representatives were kicked out of Demon City, they didn't leave. Instead, they lingered at the foot of the mountain and decided to stay. In the living room. Seeing Uncle Long drive away the representatives of the Three Beast tribes, Dongfang Yu couldn't help but tease, "What, you don't want Shuai to subdue them? Those trash. Other than doing some physical work, it's really not of much use." Uncle Long said in disdain. He regretted it. He regretted giving Shuai this stupid idea. Actually, Shuai doesn't need them to be of much use. They just make up the numbers. Dongfang Lin said with a smile. Ah. Uncle Long was stunned. He had to see them to make up the numbers, right? Now, he really didn't want to see those useless people who only knew how to cry. Make up for what? Len Ruoxue heard the conversation between Uncle Long and the others just as she walked into the living room. She couldn't help but ask curiously. Hee hee. Dongfang Lin smiled as he recounted what had happened to Len Ruoxue in detail. After Len Ruoxue heard this, she smiled faintly and said, "So be it. However, you have to collect the reward for saving them. Don't worry, I've already sent the thank you gift." Dongfang Lin smirked. Len Ruoxue nodded her head. At this moment, the baby ran in happily and jumped into Len Ruoxue's arms. "Sister, don't you need to practice beast taming? I've talked to Old Snake and the others, they're willing to let you tame them." "Really? Baby, don't force them to agree," Len Ruoxue said sternly. "Miss Leng, Lord Beast Deity didn't force us to agree. We did it willingly." Old Venomous Snake, who had just arrived, quickly said. They knew that Len Ruoxue's cultivation technique was different from the rest, and one of them required her to master the beast taming technique. In order to defeat Wu Jing, the old viper felt that it was necessary for them to support her. After all, they had a common enemy with Len Ruoxue. In addition to their relationship with the beast god, they were extremely close to Len Ruoxue no matter how one looked at it. Furthermore, they were very optimistic about Len Ruoxue's character, so they did not reject the idea of becoming her beastie. As for Len Ruoxue, after hearing Old Venomous Snake's words, she was so touched that she didn't know what to say. She even felt that her luck was really too good. There were always some kind and understanding beasties around her, and these beasties were so sincere towards her. She naturally had to return the favor. Thank you, I won't mistreat you. After some thought, Len Ruoxue only said this. Old Venomous Snake simply smiled and said, Master, we finally don't have to call you Miss Leng this time. Hearing this, everyone could not help but laugh. After that, Len Ruoxue and the rest came to the courtyard. The venomous snakes had already assembled. Other than the venomous snakes, the Golden Bee tribe had also rushed over to join in the fun. The Golden Bee leader looked at Len Ruoxue and smiled in embarrassment. We're here to join in the fun. Master won't mind us, right? Thank you, Len Ruoxue touched the head of the leading Golden Bee. She would remember the sacrifices these beasts had made for her. In the future, they would all be his family. After successfully taming these beasts, Len Ruoxue signed the equality contract with them. After that, she could clearly feel that her beast taming skills had improved by several levels. In fact, after she had arrived in the immortal realm, beast taming techniques had basically disappeared, so there was no way to test the levels of a beast tamer. There was also no detailed record of a beast tamer in the heaven-defying art. Therefore, she could only rely on her previous experience and slowly explore to advance. However, now it seemed that a beast tamer still needed to tame more beasts before they could successfully advance. Even though Len Ruoxue wasn't sure what rank her beast taming technique had reached, she had a feeling that it wouldn't take much for her beast taming technique to reach the Great Circle. This result made her rather excited. When Uncle Long and the others saw the smile on Shuai'er's beautiful face, they thought that her beast taming technique had reached the great success stage. However, when they asked, they found out that she was still lacking a little. Immediately, everyone's faces turned bitter again. The old viper didn't say a word and quietly left Demon City. Old Venomous Snake had left quite secretively, and no one had noticed him at the time. By the time they realized that Old Venomous Snake was gone, the other party had long disappeared. Everyone really wanted to ridicule Old Venomous Snake's elusive appearance. Why didn't this old fellow say a word before he left? 3 days later. Old Venomous Snake returned in high spirits. Looking at the old viper who seemed to have returned home in glory, Uncle Long, who was the first to see him, couldn't help but tease, I say, Old Venomous Snake, you found a second spring? Why are you so happy? You've only just found a second spring. I've brought a lot of beasts for Master. Old Venomous Snake said proudly. Thanks, Beastie. Where is he? When Uncle Long heard this, he couldn't help but look up and down. However, other than the old poisonous snake, there was no trace of any other beastie. They'll be here in a few days. We have to pack up and move the whole family. Old Snake said matter-of-factly. That's true. Uncle Long nodded. Uncle Long was very grateful for Old Snake's kindness, but at the same time, he felt that he hadn't done enough. At least, he didn't have so many beasts in his hands to take out. Uncle Long was worried. Wait a minute. Wasn't he just a beastie? After being a human for so long, Uncle Long had almost forgotten that he was also a beastie. Now that he suddenly recalled it, he immediately left the old venomous snake and ran off to find Len Ruoxue. Upon seeing Len Ruoxue, Uncle Long said directly, Shuai, please tame me. The moment he said this, Len Ruoxue was baffled. The others also looked at Uncle Long as if they were looking at a lunatic. Uncle Long, if you haven't taken your medicine, go back and take it. Are you crazy? The head elder of the Craftsmen's Guild headquarters couldn't help but ridicule. You bastard. You're the crazy one. Your whole family has gone crazy. I'm speaking from my heart. Uncle Long exploded when he heard this. He was about to go crazy, especially when he saw that everyone else was looking at him with a look of deep agreement. All right. Truth. But why did you ask Shuai to tame you? The first elder of the blacksmiths still had a look of "Are you crazy?" on his face. He looked at Uncle Long. Shuai needs beastie, right? I'm the same. Uncle Long said matter-of-factly. This time, everyone finally knew the crux of the problem. However, after getting along with Uncle Long for so long, they had long since stopped treating him as a beastie. Leng Ruoxue felt the same way. When she heard Uncle Long's words, she was speechless as if she had seen a ghost. Uncle Long, I've never treated you as a beastie, and I don't dare to tame you. Shuer, are you looking down on me? Uncle Long said sadly. No, in my heart, you're my elder. How can I tame you? Leng Ruoxue was almost driven mad by Uncle Long's resentful tone as she hurriedly replied. But this is for your cultivation. Uncle Long continued to persuade. That's reasonable. I should also support you. Ice Spirit, who had been sitting silently on the side, suddenly spoke. Ice Spirit also joined in the fun, and this scared Leng Ruoxue so much that she couldn't sit still. Leng Ruoxue stood up from her chair and said carefully, I suddenly remembered that I still have something to do, so I won't be accompanying you guys. Everyone, please help yourself. With that, she disappeared from everyone's sight. Seeing Leng Ruoxue running away in a panic, the Weapon Craftsman Guild's first elder sighed and said, Look at how you've scared Shuer, what are you trying to do? I'm serious. Uncle Long and Bingpa said in unison. It was undeniable that the actions of the poisonous snakes and the Golden Bee tribe had touched them greatly. This was something that they had never thought of before. Now that they thought about it, they were really incompetent. They had known Shuer for a long time, but the poisonous snakes and bees had gotten there before them. Serious my ass. By doing this, have you ever thought about Shuer's feelings? She treats you like family, the chief elder of the Craftsman's Guild reminded. That's why we should be in front of those poisonous snakes and bees. But now, we're clearly behind. Uncle Long said before the great elder of the Craftsman's Guild could finish. No matter what you think, just give up on that idea. Sighing, the head elder of the Craftsman's Guild said. Yes, there are many beasts in the world. If there's not enough, it'll go to the lower realm to catch them. I don't need you to offer your bodies. Dongfang Yu was also speechless. The lower realm beastie's strength is too low. It's useless to capture it. Uncle Long said in a low voice. Clearly, he had not given up yet. I don't need you. Just do what you need to do. Dongfang Yu said angrily. After being yelled at by him, Uncle Long immediately became obedient. However, whenever he saw Shuer, he could not help but want to mention this matter. It scared Leng Ruoxue so much that she did not dare to leave her room for a few days, afraid that Uncle Long would pester her. Fortunately, Old Venomous Snake's actions were very effective. 5 days later, all the friends he had gathered had arrived, and Leng Ruoxue was finally able to escape from Uncle Long's pestering. The following taming process went smoothly. After signing the equality contract, Leng Ruoxue finally felt that her beast taming technique had reached perfection. This fact moved Leng Ruoxue to tears. More importantly, Uncle Long finally had no reason to pester her anymore. She no longer had to hide from Uncle Long in fear. Everyone was happy. When he found out that Leng Ruoxue's beast taming technique had finally reached the great circle of perfection, Uncle Long was initially a little disappointed because he was still unable to help. However, his disappointment only lasted for a moment. He immediately felt happy for Shuer. However, he was also a little worried. Shuer's beast taming technique had reached perfection, so wouldn't the White Tiger King and the others be useless? One had to know that those 3 guys were prepared to make up for Shuer's numbers, but now it was obvious that they were not being used, so how should he deal with them? Chapter 2870, First Time in the Chaos World, 1. After telling Leng Ruoxue about this, she suddenly recalled that there were 3 prisoners that could be tamed. However, what was the point of taming them? Be a servant? To be honest, she really didn't want to see those 3. Besides, Feng Zhan and Bai Su wouldn't let them go. If they escaped just because she had tamed them, she would be depressed to death. After some thought, Leng Ruoxue said, Senior Ice Soul, didn't you want to deal with the 3 of them? But we can't kill them yet. After all, they're traitors. We can't let them die easily. Yes. Uncle Long nodded in agreement. He quickly took the 3 prisoners to find the ice spirit. As for Len Ruoxue, after she had perfected her beast-taming technique, she immediately went to look for Shui Mo and the 2 of them went to study the array together. Shui Mo was a formation fanatic. After he finally caught Len Ruoxue, he wouldn't let her go. No one could ask him for her. Shui Mo even said that whoever wanted to snatch Len Ruoxue from him would have to defeat him. When everyone heard this, they immediately gave up fighting for Shui and went to do what they were supposed to do. As for Len Ruoxue, in order to buy more time, she brought Shui Mo into the bracelet and used time acceleration. This way, the 2 of them had more time to study the formation. Shui Mo, on the other hand, was relatively calm after seeing Shui's space. He only took one look before entering the room that Len Ruoxue had prepared for him and buried his head in studying the array. Seeing this, Len Ruoxue felt that she couldn't fall behind too much, so she quickly followed him in. Just like that, Len Ruoxue continued to hide in the bracelet and focus on her own matters. The matters of Demon City were still left to Uncle Long and the others. Another 3 years passed. The people who had gone out to gain experience returned in high spirits. Mu Li and the others, who had been sent to watch over them, had also returned. The first thing Mu Li did when he returned was to ask about Len Ruoxue. When he heard from Uncle Long and the others that Len Ruoxue had once come out of closed-door cultivation, but was now in closed-door cultivation again, his face was filled with regret. Why didn't you wait for me? Mu Li was very depressed. He had been loitering outside for the past 3 years. Other than hearing about the situation in Demon City, he had never heard of Len Ruoxue coming out of seclusion. Otherwise, he would have returned long ago. Why wait for you? Are you the Lord? Minga asked with a smirk. Ah. We're also old acquaintances. Mu Li said dejectedly. In reality, he wanted to see Len Ruoxue's current condition so that he could report to his lord. But now, there was no chance. Old acquaintance or new acquaintance, Shuai is very busy, I don't have time to reminisce with you now. After hearing Mu Li's words, Uncle Long also said. Little dragon, why have you learned from Ming Ji? How dare you bully me? Seeing that Uncle Long didn't help him, and was even suspected of hitting him when he was down, Mu Li was deeply worried. Ah. You're my senior, how would I dare to bully you? Uncle Long said as if he had been wronged. You're all bullying me. Woo. Shuai, come out and help me. When Mu Li heard this, she cried out in grievance. What are you howling for? All of a sudden, a slightly displeased female voice was heard. Everyone turned around when they heard it and happened to see Len Ruoxue standing not too far away from them, looking at a certain someone with a helpless expression. Thanks, a certain someone was still unaware of it. When he saw Len Ruoxue, it was as if he had seen his savior. With tears in his eyes, he pounced on her and hugged her leg tightly as he sobbed, Shuai, Shuai, you have to help me. They are all bullying me. They're bullying me for being alone. Woo-woo, Len Ruoxue's face darkened when she heard this. She forcefully pulled her leg away and said in a speechless manner, Mu Li City Master, you're still alone? Alright, quickly get up. Don't act pitiful. After not seeing her for a few years, why did Mu Li seem to have changed? Or was this his true face? Len Ruoxue was disappointed. Mu Li saw that it was useless to pretend to be pitiful, so she got up resentfully and kept complaining, didn't they say that you'll only be soft-hearted if you act pitiful? Could this information be wrong? That also depends on the person. You can forget about it. Hearing Mu Li's words, Len Ruoxue was even more speechless. Shuai, how can you look down on me? Mu Li was unhappy when she heard that. She looked at Len Ruoxue with a face full of resentment. Why do I feel that these words sound so familiar? Blinking her eyes, Len Ruoxue couldn't help but look at Uncle Long. Instantly, Uncle Long's face turned red. He quickly changed the topic and asked, Shuai, how's your cultivation going? I've already perfected the formation, but am still lacking in alchemy and blacksmithing, mainly because I don't have the materials. Len Ruoxue said, feeling a little depressed. Initially, she thought that she had prepared enough materials. Coupled with the years of hard work in the bracelet, her alchemy and weapon refinement skills had reached the level of a weapon god and an alchemy god. This was already considered the top level among alchemists and weapon masters. Who knew that Qing Ju would tell her that it was only the level of an ordinary alchemist and weapon master? The requirements for her were not that simple. If she wanted to be a paragon in alchemy and blacksmithing, she would have to be able to forge primal chaos divine pills and acquired primal chaos divine weapons. Just by hearing these two names, one would know that it must be something grand. In fact, this was indeed the case. Since they dared to call themselves chaos, they must be related to chaos. Therefore, in addition to the air of chaos, some of the materials needed must be produced in the land of chaos. This was the first time Len Ruoxue had heard of the land of chaos, let alone the fact that she had no idea where it was. According to Qing Ju's explanation, the land of chaos was where he was born. That was the home of the living beings born from chaos. To put it bluntly, that place was also the home of his master and the demon. Qing Ju also said that the land of chaos actually bred many things, but only a few of them could become living beings. Those lifeless materials were the best materials to refine chaos divine pills and Hotian chaos divine weapons. However, the land of chaos was far and unknown, and it was not something that ordinary people could reach. She even said that she couldn't go now. When she heard this, Len Ruoxue really wanted to curse the heavens. You bastard! If she couldn't go, how was she going to refine medicinal pills and divine artifacts? When Len Ruoxue told Uncle Long and the others what Qing Ju had told her, they were dumbfounded. Can't go. Can't go. Then what should he do? Without the materials, Shuai's alchemy and weapon refinement could not reach perfection. If she could not reach perfection, it meant that Shuai could not advance. If she could not advance, she would not be able to fight against fog ice. This chain reaction was closely related. Wasn't this a scam? Originally, when Uncle Long heard that Shuai didn't have enough materials, he had wanted to ask her what she was lacking. But now that he heard it, what was it that he couldn't help with? Instantly, Uncle Long became depressed. Most of the people present were also depressed. AI. The things that Shuai came into contact with were getting more and more high-end and sophisticated. It was obvious that ordinary Reverent God-level cultivators could no longer help her. Chapter 2871, First Time in the Chaos World, 2, Everyone could not help but sigh. At this time, Mu Li blinked her eyes and asked carefully, what's the relationship between the land of chaos and the chaos world? The chaotic lands are the chaotic world, it's just called differently. Suddenly, a voice interrupted. Mu Li looked up and then quickly turned back. He couldn't afford to offend this guy, Wu. Girl, I can bring you to the land of chaos. The little white beast jumped into Len Ruoxue's arms and said with a smile. Sung, if you leave, what will happen to the divine realm? Len Ruoxue asked worriedly. Right now, Fog Ice did not dare to cause trouble for Demon City. Her injuries had yet to fully recover, and her fear of Azure was another reason. If Azure was not around, that woman might cause trouble again. Don't worry, her injuries won't heal so quickly. Azure smiled evilly. Ever since Nyo and the others destroyed Rhyme's new base in the Ning family's divine realm, it could be said that the old bitch's injuries were even worse. Thus, he was not worried at all that Rhyme would take advantage of his absence to do some small tricks. Ah! Can I say something? Hearing the conversation between the man and the beast, Mu Li, who had wanted to play dumb, asked in a low voice. Speak. Len Ruoxue was speechless. Why was Mu Li acting like a mouse seeing a cat when she saw Tsang? Was there a need to be so afraid of Tsang? When he saw Tsang lie, he spoke so carefully and even asked. If you have a fart, then let it out. Tsang Yi said. His words were rough, and this guy was the demonic man's confidant, so he was naturally within the range of his rejection. In fact, I wanted to say that master is in the chaos world. Mu Li took a few deep breaths and looked at Song Ho vigilantly before telling the truth. Where's the demon? Leng Ruoxue was astonished. Why did that fellow run off to the land of chaos? Are you bored? Yes, my lord and little Tian have been living there for several years. Mu Li nodded. Little Tian? Leng Ruoxue furrowed her brows. She didn't know why, but when she heard these two words, she felt a little uncomfortable. On the other hand, Azure had an evil smile on his face as he provoked, so that evildoer can't stand loneliness and is cohabiting with someone else. Girl, dump him. There are many good men out there. Leng Ruoxue was silent. How should she respond to this? Mu Li was so scared that he broke out in a cold sweat. This was slander. It definitely was. My lord. It's none of my business. It's that cat who wants to sow discord. If you have any dissatisfaction, please settle it with that cat. Sob. It really had nothing to do with him. Mu Li wanted to cry, but no tears came out. Uncle Long and the others who were listening by the side were also drenched in cold sweat. Did they hear some confidential information that they shouldn't have? Would he be killed? The evolution of the divine realm was becoming more and more dangerous. It made Uncle Long and the others want to go back to their hometown and hide. But it seemed like hiding was useless, right? They didn't understand the battle between high-end people. At this moment, Uncle Long and the others felt how small they were. Whether it was Tsang or Demon, if these two were to fight, it would definitely be a world-shaking battle. If things were not handled well, the divine realm would be in trouble. And now, they could only pray that Shuai was rational and wouldn't be angered by Tsang's words. Shuai. Calm down. He had to stay calm. After turning their expectant gazes to Leng Ruoxue, Uncle Long and the rest smiled ingratiatingly, making Leng Ruoxue exceptionally speechless. Thanks. Did Uncle Long and the others think that she would be angry? AI. Even if she was angry, she would not vent her anger on an innocent person. After giving Uncle Long and the rest a comforting look, Leng Ruoxue smiled at Mu Li and said, since the demon is currently in the land of chaos, he'll have to trouble the Muley City Master to cooperate with me and open the space channel. I'm going to find him. Girl, there's no need to go through so much trouble. I'll take you there. It's better to leave these trash here. Tsang didn't give Mu Li a chance to reply and quickly replied. Of course, the trash it was referring to was Mu Li, Ming Ji, and the others. Yes, we should stay here. Let Senior Tsang take you there. When Mu Li heard this, he immediately agreed and very tactfully used the word trash on himself. In fact, every time he saw them, Tsang would directly call them trash. As he called them that, he got used to it. What about Uncle Long and the others? Leng Ruoxue asked again as she looked at Uncle Long, who was obviously looking forward to it. Let's go together. I'll also bring the little fellows of the divine realm to experience it. You should know that such an opportunity is rare. Azure waved his fat claws. Uncle Long and the others were very excited to see Tsang agree. He had to bring them along to broaden their horizons. Such opportunities were rare. Can I come along? Seeing that he didn't seem to have a share, Ming Ji still didn't give up and wanted to confirm. You're not from the divine realm, I don't care. I want to go find your master. Azure said in an unfriendly manner. Sob, Ming Ji burst into tears. Don't people always say that the guest will do as the host pleases? Why did the host leave the guest behind to look after the house? What kind of master was this? Mingo was so sad. As a guest, he really had no status. At the thought of this, he could not help but turn to look at Leng Ruoxue. However, Leng Ruoxue only smiled apologetically and said with a smile, I'll leave Demon City in your hands. These words broke Ming Ji's heart. He deeply felt that he would never love again. Sobs. What a pitiful customer. The heartbroken Minga glared at the excited Uncle Long and the others with tears in her eyes. Then, she disappeared from the spot. He didn't want to see these hateful people anymore. They were too annoying. Hee, you guys go and have fun. Don't worry, I'll take care of Ming Ji and the others. Mu Li was afraid that Leng Ruoxue and the rest would feel awkward, so he quickly expressed his opinion. We're not worried. Leng Ruoxue replied honestly. Ugh. All right. He had done too much. Mu Li was in tears. After that, Leng Ruoxue and the rest started to make preparations for their journey. He brought all his family members, whether they were in closed-door cultivation or not. This was mainly to guard against the miasma's surprise attack, and those weak little guys became cannon fodder for no reason. With this, Demon City was practically empty. After the poisonous snakes, the Golden Bee clan, and the 3 clans' fresh blood that had returned from their training were all taken away by Leng Ruoxue, the Qilin clan's Qilin clan also strongly requested to go for a trip when they heard the news. In the blink of an eye, only Mu Li and a few others were left in the huge Demon City. Looking at the empty main residence and the entire Demon City, Mu Li really felt like a gatekeeper. And this feeling was really not good. However, Leng Ruoxue couldn't care less. After packing everyone up and bringing along quite a bit of food, she carried Azure and left Demon City for the god-protecting pagoda. After leaving Demon City and reaching the foot of the mountain, Leng Ruoxue was suddenly blocked by a white tiger that had appeared out of nowhere. The white tiger blinked its watery blue eyes and looked at Leng Ruoxue. As she watched, she suddenly burst into tears without any warning. Leng Ruoxue's face darkened. Chapter 2872, First Time in the Chaos World, 3, Who was this white tiger? Leng Ruoxue's face was filled with question marks. These beasts all looked the same in their original forms. Unless they had been with each other for a long time, she really couldn't recognize them. Especially when the white tiger was still crying. Leng Ruoxue was annoyed by her crying and said in a bad mood, "Why are you crying? Did I bully you?" She was the one who was blocked, okay? Didn't people say that good dogs don't block the way? Now, it was actually a tiger blocking the way. Miss Leng, please don't leave us alone. The white tiger immediately sobbed when it heard this. Do I know you? Leng Ruoxue blinked her eyes. Hearing this, could it be that she had given up on him? I'm the great elder of White Tiger. Don't you recognize me? The white-colored great elder said with a sad expression. Ah. It's you. Is there something you need? Leng Ruoxue played dumb. She had heard about the 3 beast clans' request from Uncle Long and the others. However, she was powerless to do anything about it. Moreover, she didn't expect that after 3 years, the White Tiger Great Elder was still guarding the foot of the Demon City's mountain. His perseverance made her admire him a little. Although 3 years was nothing more than the blink of an eye for a cultivator, it was clearly not easy for the proud White Tiger First Elder to guard him for 3 years. This could also prove that the White Tiger race was really at a life-and-death juncture. Otherwise, this old man wouldn't be loitering around here. Miss Leng, only you can help us. The White Tiger First Elder said with tears in his eyes. After guarding for 3 years, he had finally met Leng Ruoxue. It had not been easy. I wonder how I can help you. Hearing this, Leng Ruoxue smiled faintly. Some of our clansmen are still in the hands of that witch, the White Tiger Grand Elder cut straight to the point. I'm sorry, Grand Elder White Tiger. You've seen my strength for yourself. I can't beat that fog ripple bitch. Leng Ruoxue interrupted the first elder of the White Tiger clan before he could finish his sentence. I know that it will be difficult for young Miss Leng to exterminate miasma right now. We can wait. As long as young Miss Leng is able to exterminate that woman and rescue the White Tiger tribesmen one day, it will be fine. As a reward, I am willing to lead the White Tigers to acknowledge young Miss Leng as their master. The White Tiger First Elder gathered his courage and said. It was afraid that Leng Ruoxue would not let it finish its sentence, so it spoke very quickly. It was willing to acknowledge her as its master because it had heard from a certain clan member that Leng Ruoxue needed to be tamed. As such, it felt that the other party would definitely be satisfied with its reward. However, it could never have imagined that the news about it was already old. Leng Ruoxue had even told it directly that she no longer needed Beastie. Upon hearing this grievous news, the White Tiger First Elder was immediately dumbfounded and fell to the ground, crying bitterly. When Leng Ruoxue saw this, the black lines on her forehead gradually increased. The First Elder of the White Tiger cried out pitifully as if the sky was about to fall. However, to him, not being able to make Leng Ruoxue agree to save his clansmen was no different from the sky falling. Looking at the huge white tiger crying like a child in front of her, Leng Ruoxue couldn't deny that her heart had softened. After all, she didn't have much of a conflict with the White Tiger First Elder. In fact, this old white tiger had always tried to maintain a good relationship with her. Now that she saw it crying like this, she didn't feel good. Alright, don't cry. As long as your clansmen can hold on, it'll naturally save them after the rime ice is destroyed. However, I can't guarantee the time. Leng Ruoxue, who had always been at her wit's end, sighed. Hearing Leng Ruoxue's words, the White Tiger First Elder suddenly raised his head and stared at her with his watery blue eyes that had just cried. He was in disbelief. It didn't hear wrong, right? The other party agreed. Thank you, Master. I believe my people can hold on as long as you are willing to save them. After obtaining Leng Ruoxue's promise, the White Tiger First Elder was invigorated. Wait. Don't call me Master. Saving them was just a passing act. Leng Ruoxue stopped him with a look of disdain. She didn't want to take in these useless people now. When the White Tiger First Elder heard this, he was dumbfounded again. He was not allowed to call her master. This meant that he would not accept his reward. Was this person really the Leng Ruoxue it knew? Was she the Leng Ruoxue who would definitely receive payment for helping? Could it have been switched? Since when did Leng Ruoxue not ask for rewards for doing good deeds? White Tiger's First Elder looked at Leng Ruoxue as if he did not know her. However, Leng Ruoxue couldn't be bothered to explain to the other party. From her point of view, even if she didn't accept these guys, someone else would naturally accept them. If that was the case, why would she bother to do anything? After that, Leng Ruoxue turned to the White Tiger First Elder and said, "Now, make way. I have something to do and I don't know when I'll return, so you don't have to stay here." Oh. The depressed White Tiger First Elder opened up a path and sent Leng Ruoxue away with his resentful gaze. However, he did not choose to leave and instead gathered more white tigers. The White Tiger First Elder felt that since Leng Ruoxue was not around, they should help guard the door and the forest. In case some blind people came to cause trouble. Although the White Tiger's strength had regressed a lot, they still had a deterrent force. Just like that, without Leng Ruoxue's knowledge, a few uninvited gatekeepers appeared at the foot of the mountain. As for Leng Ruoxue, she brought Azure along as they continued on their journey to the god-protecting pagoda. I knew Nyo would be soft-hearted. Suddenly, Tsung said. Thanks, I can't say that I'm soft-hearted. If the three beast tribes are still alive after we've destroyed Fog Ice, it'll naturally release them. Therefore, the White Tiger First Elder's worries were completely unnecessary. Moreover, I only let him feel at ease because that old man rarely goes against us. Leng Ruoxue said honestly. Azure, head to the god-protecting pagoda. Why don't you teleport? Leng Ruoxue then changed the topic. Why did you teleport? Wasn't it good to look at the scenery? It wasn't that far to begin with. Azure said as a matter of course. Ah. Alright. Then can I move Uncle Long and the others out? At first, Tsung said that it was tiring to be alone. At that time, she thought that Tsung could teleport, so she sent Uncle Long and the others into the bracelet to save some divine power for Tsung. Who knew that Tsung had planned to walk? As such, Uncle Long and the others naturally didn't need to stay in the bracelet. It was more lively when there were more people. However, Sung rejected Leng Ruoxu's suggestion and said righteously, let them save their strength. Otherwise, they will have a hard time in the land of chaos. Since Tsang Du had said so, Leng Ruoxue, who had never been to the land of chaos and had no idea what the situation was like there, could only agree. 2 days later, Leng Ruoxue and Sung arrived at the God Pagoda. According to Tsang, the land of chaos was closer from the God-protecting tower because there was a spatial tunnel that connected to the land of chaos. Of course, only Tsang Kai knew the coordinates of the other end of the spatial tunnel. Moreover, Leng Ruoxue would need to be escorted by him for her to pass through. Leng Ruoxue believed Tsang's words 100%, and Tsang was naturally very proud of himself. When they reached their base camp, Tsang brought Leng Ruoxue to the top of the God-protecting pagoda. It was also Leng Ruoxue's first time at the God-protecting pagoda at the top. Initially, she thought that this place was no different from where Tsang usually stayed. However, when she actually arrived, she realized that this place was completely different from what she had imagined. The spiritual energy at the top level of the God-protecting pagoda was very dense. However, it was a pitch-black fog, and she couldn't even see her fingers in front of her. However, Leng Ruoxue could feel that the spiritual energy here was a little brutal. Girl, the spiritual energy in the land of chaos is even more violent than here. Sung, who knew Leng Ruoxue's thoughts, laughed evilly. Ah! Will Uncle Long and the others be able to come out from there? Leng Ruoxue asked speechlessly. She was starting to regret bringing Uncle Long and the others along. If they were unable to withstand the violent spiritual energy in the land of chaos and got injured, she would feel guilty. There shouldn't be a problem with the Divine Lord, but he can't stay for long. He could only look through the light screen. Actually, there's nothing much to see in the land of chaos. It's not even as good as my God-protecting pagoda. Cold Truth said. Oh. Sung, when are we leaving? Leng Ruoxue nodded and asked. Now, girl, close your eyes. Azure ordered. Leng Ruoxue nodded. The moment she closed her eyes, she could clearly feel a flash of light before her eyes. She started to feel dizzy. After an unknown period of time, Tsang said to Leng Ruoxue, girl, open your eyes. When Leng Ruoxue heard this, she immediately opened her eyes. What came into view was a beautiful blue sky. Leng Ruoxue was completely stunned by the beautiful scenery in front of her. What do you think? When Azure saw this, he couldn't help but be proud. The space tunnel I took you through is much stronger than that demonic man's, right? Leng Ruoxue was speechless. Was there a need to compete in this? However, not long after Tsang finished speaking, the scene in front of Leng Ruoxue changed again. This time, Tsang was so depressed that he couldn't say anything. This was because it didn't have to be smug for long before the spatial passageway became exactly the same as when the demon had broken through the void. Extreme Azure Chi. Damn it. He really didn't give it any face. Leng Ruoxue couldn't help but laugh in her heart as she stroked the fur on Tsang's body to comfort him. Tsang, how much longer will it take to reach the land of chaos? Sensing that Tsang was still angry, Leng Ruoxue could only change the topic. Within 5 minutes. Azure replied in a depressed manner. 5 minutes later, Leng Ruoxue's vision turned even darker. Girl, we've arrived, Azure said. Leng Ruoxue stepped out of the space tunnel with Tsang in her arms. She looked at the gray and blurry scene in front of her and felt conflicted. There was no path in front of him, so where should he go? In addition, the ground under her feet was soft, as if she was stepping on cotton. Leng Ruoxue lowered her head to look at Tsang in her arms, her eyes pleading for help. Hee, girl, just walk around. This is how it is. You'll get used to it. Cold laughed evilly. All right then. Leng Ruoxue nodded. Since Tsang Du had said so, she could only get used to it as soon as possible. However, the feeling of his feet not being able to touch the ground was really a little strange.